Good morning, Tempo Freaks. Lexi Outs here, and the Tempo won their first ever overtime game last night against Connecticut Sun. This game was ugly. I'm not gonna lie. At points in the middle of the game, I was like, the Tempo deserve to win this game because they're missing free throws, they're making careless mistakes, they're not playing hard enough, they're letting Connecticut beat their ass, and they were down by 14 at one point. So the fact that the Tempo showed resolve and played all game and caught up at the end, forced overtime, first ever overtime in the history of the Tempo, and then took care of business in front of the Coca-Cola Coliseum crowd. It's a big deal. It's a big deal, especially because Connecticut Sun had three players that were playing amazing and really carrying them for a lot of the game. Without Morrow and Griner, the Sun are really not fully stocked with their offense, who they are. But kudos to Lacan and Aaliyah Edwards, Kingston's Aaliyah Edwards, for carrying that team along with a bit of Rivers too in there. Yeah, they played really well, and in some ways, I think the Sun deserved to win that game more than the Tempo because they've been struggling so much, and they played their hearts out, and they just barely lost. But yeah, good job by the Tempo. They won their first ever overtime game, and I'm very happy for them. Most of the basketball outcomes last night I liked. I did not like the NBA one, obviously, but I was very happy also because I was double watching the Tempo with the Scarborough Shooting Stars, and the Shooting Stars beat Niagara River Lions last night too. We're gonna go over all that. It's a reaction stream on the Tempo Freak / Raptors Freak stream, and we're gonna be going into detail and depth on the overtime win for Toronto against Connecticut, and we'll talk about other stuff too. That's what we do on this channel. That's right. That's right. That is right. Yeah, I was really happy that the game was a victory, the historic first ever overtime victory for our friend Monique Lawrence, whose birthday was yesterday, and she was going to her first Toronto Tempo game ever. And from what I've heard from her from last night in text messages, she seemed like she had a really good time last night. So things worked out really well for Mo, and she had a great birthday overtime victory with Toronto Tempo last night. She'll probably share more finer details about her visit. She said she got a few items from merchandise, and she got there and she watched the game. And she texted me a couple times during the game. It sounded like she was having fun. So that's good right there. All right, Trevor J's words of wisdom for this morning. Positivity is everything your mind is always looking for proof of what you believe. Start noticing more of what you want today. Peace, progress, joy. The more you focus on it, the more your brain highlights it. I like that. No, it's true. Perception is reality in some ways. And if you put your attention wherever you put your attention, is going to be more of what is in focus and what is prominent in your brain. So, there's a lot of bad stuff that you could really focus on. And this stuff is legit. It's not like you're an Eeyore or a Chicken Littler. There's real issues this world's facing right now that are serious. But, there's a time and a place for your time. And is your time going to be spent 24/7 thinking about doomsday and thinking about all this other stuff? Or is it going to be, carving out little slices of happiness for you because you put all your attention towards something that you enjoy instead? That's the question you got to ask yourself. Your time is how you spend it. And if you want to have worry time, go have worry time. If you want to have joy time, go have joy time. That's what I would say. Blessings to the Jones family, all the Raptor Freak families. Yeah. Yeah. It's really, where do you want to dwell? Where do you want to dwell? And Trevor is saying, you can get manifestation of good things if you dwell on the good things and you look at those and you focus on them and you give them the attention. That's it right there. That's right. Yeah, Trevor's saying what a comeback win by the Tempo to win their first ever overtime game. Yeah, I honestly, it's weird because free throws early messed them up. I was like, man, they're missing free throws like they shouldn't. Like, this is not good. They missed a lot of free throws at a certain point. But Slim was keeping it real by making hers, and Yuskata also. But key free throws missed by Aaliyah Edwards. late in the game sealed the fate of the Connecticut Sun, which is too bad. She missed 2 in a row at the line late, and, it was very exciting how the game kept getting tied up in the 4th quarter and then into the overtime. There were, like, 9 or 10 ties before the game ended, and it just made it was a different game than any of the tempo games so far. Usually these tempo games we've watched so far, one team has decidedly won or lost, or we've either won or lost. And it hasn't been like a close one like this. So this was kind of like the first close game for the tempo. In some ways, that's not good because once again, my preview yesterday, I was saying Connecticut Sun are the worst team in the league. They've only won 2 games. We should be blowing them out the water. And, the announcers during the game were saying that, Daniela, saying that this is a trap game, that, we could take the Connecticut Sun lightly and we could cough up an L for this one. No, we didn't want to do that. In some ways, there was a little bit of that energy like, yeah, we're maybe taking them too lightly. And, well, they're beating us by double digits. And at some point, you got to get a kick in the head. That's at halftime with Coach Sandy Brondello. And they're going to tell you, like, look, what are y'all doing? You're not playing with the energy or the effort or the way that we want at tempo basketball. And Coach Sandy had to remind them at halftime that we have some standards and we have some things that she is demanding of them for how we're going to play. And, you don't get with it, you might get out of here. So, Sandy did a good job at halftime. The team did a good job coming together and speaking among themselves and talking about it. I think Marina talked about it after the game that halftime was very crucial for the tempo to organize themselves and get themselves better off. Marina gave a lot of credit to the crowd also coming alive and giving them a lot of energy at the end of the game to come back and in the overtime to win. So there's a lot going on in that game yesterday. And, they're lucky. They won to a degree in some ways. The margin was just enough that they could just barely make it. They're lucky. They're lucky, just like the Knicks. The Knicks are lucky in some ways too. Yeah, Trevor's brought this up. The Spurs had a 29-point lead, and somehow, some way, they end up losing the game last night by 1. I know that pissed me off. I was so delighted for most of the evening to see the historic beatdown of the Knicks by the Spurs, but then there's a comeback at the end, and it's capped off by our former Raptor, OG. I hate this. I hate all of this. In some ways, I just want to ignore this game. The Spurs have not lost. The Knicks have not won. And, well, there's still basketball to be played in the NBA this season. So we'll just have to see how things go. Game 5 is in San Antonio. And, Spurs got to do way better at home this time. I'm not a fan of Mitch Johnson. I think that the Spurs fans are right for criticizing him and saying that he's not good enough to be their coach. I think they're right. I think that he was a fail hire in the first place. I don't know. Once again, I don't understand why they hired a guy who has no coaching experience when they have such a crazy Greg Popovich coaching tree. Like, seriously, you couldn't get Budenholzer? Budenholzer's sitting out there, right? He's not coaching right now, is he? Or is he coaching somewhere? Oh, is he in Phoenix? I don't remember. Phoenix changes their coach like underwear. Either way, there's coaches under the coaching tree of Popovich, and Mitch Johnson's one of them, but he didn't have any head coaching experience. You could have gotten a head coach with a head coaching experience, right? Or no, you're developing up with the young core with Wemby and all them. He's in development like the young core. They're not supposed to be on this schedule. They're ahead of schedule right now. Oh, crap. So we're hitting ahead on the young age of the Spurs overall. And the fact that their coach is only like a 2-year coach at this point. Yeah, this is an issue. It's a difference in some ways between Nick Nurse getting set up in his rookie year as a coach to win a championship and Mitch Johnson. I don't think he's a good coach. I really don't. And De'Aaron Fox pisses me off too. I think that he's a loser. I've always thought he was a loser. I thought he was overrated at Sacramento, and I've never really respected him. I know he's a fast player. That's about it. I don't think he's a good shooter. I've never thought he was a good shooter. And, he's a suspicious point guard also as far as things. There's so much hype about De'Aaron Fox in different ways that I've never agreed with. And, well, it rears its ugly head in very key, poignant moments like now. is I've never liked De'Aaron Fox as a player. And there's a reason why. I have no idea. I couldn't put my finger on it. But people say he's an all-star. I don't think he's an all-star. I don't think he's all that special or great. And I see now that he fails in very crucial moments. And yeah, stuff like that, man. Yeah, that's crazy, man. You want me to scout Koa Pete? I already did. Trevor, there's not really many people for me to scout at this point. I did scout most of them. I did scout Koa Pete. Koa Pete's all right. I looked at him. I remember him. I do. I did scout him already. Let's see. Career high for Laura Yusketa. 19 points. Yeah. All right. You want me to do my stars of the game? I'll do my stars of the game, Trevor. You want to start bringing up stars? I'll do the stars. Okay. Number one star of the game is Brittany. It just has to be because Brittany matched her career high earlier this season. This is the crazy thing. Brittany's been in the league for 10 years and she scored 38 twice in her career. When did she do it? In this last month playing for the Tempo. She didn't score 38 on any other team in the 10 years of her career until this year. She scored 38 and she scored it twice now. And this one was a bit more efficient than the last time she scored 38, which is fantastic. 41 minutes for Brittany. She's putting in time. We got to remember this league is 10-minute quarters. And she played 41 minutes. You do the math. Yeah. She played the whole game plus 1 minute overtime. And I don't even, my overtime like 5 minutes or something like that. So she sat 4 minutes of this entire game out of the 45 minutes of it. That's crazy. She scored 38 points in 41 minutes. This is really good proficiency in carrying the team. You know, there was issues with Marina getting going, but she did have some success here and there. But once again, we leaned heavy into Slim, and Slim carried us. And some of it's the matchup. The Connecticut Sun don't have anybody fast enough to keep up with Brittany on the dribble. And Coach Sandy wanted to spam that. She did. That's the call. Get Brittany, go inside, aggressive. And that worked. 11 for 20. I love that. She's shooting over 50%. You know, sometimes she throws a lot of junk up in the air and it don't look right. But when she's dialed in and she's actually making most of the shots, 11 for 20 is more than half of them. That makes me happy because she's going to be quantity. But if she can be more quality when she's doing the quantity, that's always a plus. It's always a plus. In fact, if I would argue if Brittany had not shot over 50% last night, the Tempo lose the game. The Tempo lose the game if Brittany doesn't shoot over 50. I'm telling you right now. She actually was 3 for 6 from 3. It was nice to see her hit a couple threes in Coca-Cola and 50% from 3 3-pointers. You know, they were timely threes. Some of them were very important at crucial times. And then the perfect 13 for 13 at the free throw line. You got to love that. She talked about this in the post game about her history with free throw shooting in her career. She said, I was always like a 70% kind of free throw shooter. And then I got higher in recent years, got up to 80. And this year I just had the quest. I have a quest to shoot 50, 40, 90, which is a standard for like really good, excellent shooting season. 50% from the field, 40% from 3, 90% from free throw line. And she's the only one she's getting right now, really, is the free throw line. She's shooting over 90% from the free throw line. And 13 for 13 at the free throw line will help with that cause. That's for sure. But yeah, 50% from 3 and over 50% from field goal. That'll help too in the game you had last night. So we'll have to monitor her percentages and see if how successful she is by the end of the year for getting her 50, 40, 90. She did express that last night. 4 rebounds, 1 assist, 2 turnovers, 2 steals, and a block. Just fleshing out the stats. You know, she's going to rebound. Even though she's a guard, she's playing like a forward. She's playing like a forward. You know, it's just this athleticism. It's almost weird. It's like Sykes has an athleticism that nobody in the WNBA seems to have. It's very interesting. It's very, very interesting. In some ways, the athleticism of Sykes is a little bit like NBA level athleticism. It's very interesting. It's very, very interesting. Yeah. But yeah, she was a +4. She's great. She's great. She was definitely the number 1 star in the game. The second star is Laura Laura Jusketa of Lithuania, who had her career high points, 19 points last night, 37 minutes for her in the overtime victory, 5 of 7 from the field. She made her only 3. She was 8 of 8 at the free throw line. So put her with Brittany. They're shooting 21% from the field. 21 of 21 from the line. 21 of 21 from the line. 6 rebounds for her. She was the leading rebounder for the Tempo. 2 assists, 0 turnovers, 4 steals. That's a net right there. 2-0 assist to turnover ratio, 4-0 steals to turnover ratio. Yeah, get 4 steals. She was really active in the middle of the floor as far as just being ready to get loose balls. You often, just like the Raptors, the Tempo have an initiator in defense that gums up the works and gets the ball loose from the other team. And then they're not the ones who actually get the final steal. The ball gets deflected and it's loose and it's popping around like a ping pong ball. And one of the other Tempo come and scoop it up. And Laura is one of the ones that actually is the scooper. That'll come and scoop that ball up and grab it. And then we're off and running. And she's great because she has ball handling skills to actually scoop the ball up and start running herself. She doesn't have to look for Julie or one of the point guards to get the ball up the court. 2 assists, 0 turnovers, 4 steals, 1 block, plus 16, the highest plus minus on the team. So she had a real winning effect. You know, there were issues with our front court in the game last night because of Aaliyah Edwards. Aaliyah Edwards was bullying us. In some ways, the Canadian was very much saying, this is my house, like Dylan Brooks would to the Raptors. Is that I'm back home in my home country, and I have friends and family here. I want to show off for them. I want to kick major ass. And, well, the limitations of some of our front court on defense showed with the bullying action of Aaliyah Edwards. She's very dangerous. So if there's any kind of knock to the game last night for Jusketa, it's that she got pretty much like ran over by Edwards. Let's just put it that way. But everything else was fantastic. Everything else was really good. Just an active player, very heady player, definitely not a regular WNBA rookie. That's what I would say. That's the thing. Is Jusketa going to get attention from the league, or will she be buried like Jamal Shed? Because honestly, she's one of the best rookies so far this year on the down low. And we'll just have to see if the WNBA wants to broadcast that or not. We'll just have to see. This is one of the things we got to check to see if they're going to start sliding the tempo like they slight the Raptors. And attention is what I'm saying. My third star is going to go to Niara. I felt like Niara, once again, she's just the anvil for our team. She takes a lot of hammering. She's just the anvil. She's just really tough. And, you know, there's a lot of frustration at times because, like, you know, the calls, the referee calls were a little weird last night. They weren't totally horrible, but at times it also seemed like the ref crew for the Tempo game last night did not know what they were doing. There was a moment in the overtime where they were lining up for a free throw, and crew chief Isaac Barnett was saying, they're not in the bonus. Why are we doing this? You know, there's that rookie ref, Genesis. She still makes some mistakes here and there. I've seen her make at least one major mistake each game she's reffed us, and that was the third game she's reffed us. And that's the thing. It's like you got to know the rules. You got to be steady and smart and on top of things as far as commanding the game and what's the next thing to go and the protocols. And if you're not keeping track of fouls, you're not keeping track of things like the shot clock, you're not keeping track of, you know, this kind of stuff, there can be problems. So, yeah, that was awkward, that moment where they started lining up for a free throw, and then crew chief Barnett said, no, there's no free throw. They aren't in the bonus in the overtime. You guys know that moment, right? You saw that. But, yeah, Niara had complaints with the refs at times. She looked very frustrated. You know, there wasn't a total consistency with how they were calling contact down low at all last night. There really wasn't. And there was foul trouble, too. There was foul troubles for both sides. But, yeah, Niara, 15 points, 3 of 5 from the field. She missed the only 3 she took. She was 9 of 10 at the free throw line, which was awesome. 5 rebounds, 3 assists, 0 turnovers, a +6. Yeah, solid. solid contribution. I mean, we only had 4 tempo players in double digits, and honestly, we need more. I'm actually shocked that we won that game like we did, considering how bad the bench played. The bench had 7 points last night for us in a 106 to 102 overtime victory. That's not getting any points from them. That's getting a third of the points from uh for 40% of the points from yeah, Brittany Sykes. 38 points out of our 106 and no bench helping the carry. So that's tough. My fourth star of the game is Marina. Marina was good. She got the chain. She got the first chain ever in her career on the tempo. She got the Cobra chain last night, which was cool. She had some very key threes that ignited the game. In fact, she was a catalyst for us to come back because she woke things up. There's nothing like seeing a moonshot three from Mabry go in. It just explodes the building. And that's good. That's really good because much like a breakaway dunk in the NBA where everybody goes crazy in the building, these kind of shots can ignite the crowd's participation and cheering on the team because there was a little bit of like bump on the log kind of cheering for the team in the first half, but they became alive. And I think this is really impressive because we gotta talk about this because this is not totally normal in the WNBA. And in some ways, we're starting to see the Toronto effect for a Toronto crowd in the WNBA for the tempo already. That if this game's competitive and the team is close, we will start chanting defense louder. We will start getting crazier, louder. And I was really impressed and proud of the tempo crowd and the noise they generated in the fourth quarter and the overtime to help egg them on to win. Because look, that's not given in all the WNBA markets in their arenas. Some of these fans are jaded on some of their teams, like Sky fans. And, to get that kind of noise with the smaller capacity at Coca-Cola Coliseum is truly impressive. So, salute to all the fans that have been coming to the Tempo games recently for being loud and cheering like we would for the Raptors because that Toronto enthusiasm and passion for basketball is coming through for the Bordeaux and the hydrogen blue. And I love that. I love that so much. I was watching on TV last night. I had to say, I just took a moment and say, wow, the crowd is really awesome right now. The crowd is really helping them because they were. And Marina said that after the game. She said the crowd in the second half was amazing. Thank you. Mabry, 34 minutes, 21 points, 8 of 20 shooting, 4 of 12 from 3, and 1 of 2 at the free throw line. Yeah, it's not like she's going to miss free throws very often. But yeah, 8 of 20 from the field. She was shadowed up. It's really hard for her to get her offense going because she is the number one person on the list. The question yesterday from the new subscriber about Marina and getting her more loose. Well, there was a mixed result yesterday. She wasn't the main scorer, but she did contribute very important, huge 3-point shots at crucial times, and she was very active in trying to score. So I was happy about that. A little bit less stat stuff in this time. 1 rebound, 1 assist, 3 turnovers, 3 steals, though, and a +4. Yeah, Mabry, it's kind of funny that she got the chain on a game like this. But in some ways, I can rationalize giving Mabry the chain last night because, like I said, she was a spark plug. She was the igniting of the crowd to get loud and get into the game and give some momentum to the tempo to start kicking some ass. Yeah. Then there's a couple times where she hit a three to light it up, and then we kind of the game goes on, quiet down, and then she hits it again, and boom, we're off and running and going again, and that's awesome. That's good stuff. So my fifth star, because there was only 4 double-digit scores, is Julie. I like what Julie's doing, except a couple of things. 36 minutes for Julie Alamont, 6 points on 3 of 5 shooting. She missed her only 3. I want you to shoot more threes, Julie. Like, you're being hesitant. In some ways, you may become a liability as a starter soon. And some ways the way you're playing Julie Alamone is a backup point guard kind of way. You're not playing like a starting point guard. You're playing like a backup point guard, but you're starting right now. Now, Kiki's not going to be out forever. In some ways, what do you care about? What are you trying to do? Because there's been a few times in games recently when you come back from your injury that you are passing up shots for yourself that are absolutely the best shot in the possession. In fact, you're overpassing. You're passing to the point where you're coming through and it's obvious that you should shoot it, but you're dumping it off to somebody who's not even ready for it. There's one pass in particular, you threw it off to Key at the last second. And I'm just like, why'd you do that? You had the open layup. You've got to stop doing this. I don't know what your wiring is in your head. In some ways, Scotty Barnes kind of wiring, where I just like want to pass to everybody and I don't care about getting it myself. You got to stop doing this because the scouting report will come out on you, and the tendency will be she's never going to shoot herself. So they'll stop playing you for the possibility of you trying to shoot it or lay it up, and they'll start playing you for the pass. And they'll start picking off your passes because they don't believe you're going to try and shoot because you're hesitant. You're hesitant to shoot. So you can't do this. You got to keep them honest. It's not about being a totally unselfish point guard or anything like that. You need to keep the other team honest. If you are too predictable, that she never passes. She's going to dribble in and she's going to come right out the other way, or she's going to jump the ball up, but she'll never shoot it herself. That's not good. You can't do that because it'll become a liability to tempo at some point. Trust me. And you know what? Once again, just for personal advice, you play like a backup point guard, you'll be a backup point guard. That's what I'll say right there. Yeah. Yeah. Because listen, I know you have some offense. You did it over in Turkey just before you came to the tempo in Fenerbahce. You're a champion. I know you have some offense. So wake it up. Wake it up. I say minimum every single game, Julie, you need to make 1 3. And I would like you to get close to 10 points every game if you could, because once again, the tempo need to diversify their attack. It's like the announce crew said last night, Daniela and Tamika Nurse, that the tempo win better when there's a diversity in scoring, when it's a balanced attack. We don't do better when it's the Marina and Brittany show only, and they are getting 80 of our points. No, that's not the right formula. We need to have 5, 6, 7 women on the tempo every single game getting double digits. We only got 4 last night, and we won in overtime. That's crazy to me because, and thank you, Sykes, for carrying and getting a lot of other people's double digits for yourself. But Julie, you got to do better, seriously. And the scout will be out on you that you hesitate, and they'll play you for the pass. They won't play you for your own score. And you can't do this. At a certain point, it's going to be a liability. Yeah, she shot well, 3 for 5, 6 points, 2 rebounds, 4 assists, 4 turnovers, and 2 steals. And she was a plus 14, the second highest plus minus after Yuskata. That's my advice for Julie. In some ways, you remind me so much of Steve Nash. It's crazy. Like, you must have modeled some of your game after Steve Nash. Just the way you dribble through underneath the basket, that's totally Nash. Nash used to come up underneath the basket and dribble around in circles in the game like that. Yeah, I can tell he's somebody that you've looked up to. Our great Canadian basketball icon, Steve Nash. And friend of mine, guys, just so you know. I know Steve. He's a good guy. All right, let's go through the rest of the team. Those are my 5 stars. But we'll go through the rest of the team also as the 5 starters, because basically – the bench was tough. Isabel Harrison had a different kind of game than her debut for the tempo on Sunday against the Sky. She had a frustrating game. In some ways, she was in the middle with the bigs on the other side, battling with them. Reagan Beers, Adoba. There's some strong women and big bigs on the other side without Brittany Griner. And Isabel Harrison, in some ways, was in the fray with Niara. And, there was a lot of contact. There was a lot of calls. And, Isabel fouled out in 13 minutes of play with 5 points. She had more fouls in the game than points. 6 fouls, 5 points. Yeah, 1 for 5 from the field. She missed her only three-point shot, and she was horrible at the free throw line. She was 3 of 8. She single-handedly dragged our free throw percentage down. She has a weird uh, 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 routine at the free throw line. She has a weird routine. She likes to do a bounce, and then she flips it up in her hands, and then she catches it and shoots immediately. To me, that seems like all right. There's two things about that. It's very intriguing because in some ways I don't mind it, but I think it was a big reason why she missed 3 out of 8. She was 3 out of 8 from the free throw line last night. Is because you're kind of dependent on the ball and the kinetics of how you spin it to catch it a certain way. The spin's going to be weird where you catch it and you just fling it and shoot it. Then it could go in. Yeah. If you get it really down and your routine is really solid and you perfected it, which she has, and she does really well with it. But one of the interesting things that I notice about it, what it does miss is its chaos. It's like her free throw routine is so chaotic with the bounce, flip it up in the air, catch it and shoot. That when the kinetics that she builds with that bounce, flip, shoot means the ball when it hits the rim, if it misses, it carooms really crazy in weird ways. In fact, it may bounce right back to her, and she can go for a basket instead of a free throw. I think that's by design. I think that's very much on purpose. I think that in some ways she's figured it out analytically that it's either going to go in because I have perfected my method, or if I miss, it's going to be a chaos long rebound that is easier for my team to get because it's not going to be right next to the basket. It'll bounce out further away from the two defensive players that are closest to the backboard. That's what I think she's doing. It's kind of crazy. In some ways, I like it, but in some ways, I'm like, why don't you just make the free throws? 3 of 8. I mean, that is, she's the kind of person you want to take the free throw at the end of the game where you need to miss it and get the rebound for your own team on offense still. She's that kind of person because she's good at bricking the shot further away from the basket, that chaos rebound. But yeah, it was a tough game for her. 3 rebounds, 2 assists, 0 turnovers, a -3. Just a limited appearance. It's night and day with the first game for her. And there's nothing wrong with that. There's going to be ups and downs. You could tell she was frustrated. She took a forearm swat from big old Beers, and wow, Marina got pissed. Holy cow, Marina got pissed, and they had to calm her down. Yeah, Beers was a little dirty with that play. Isabel Harrison's a very beautiful woman. She has a beautiful voice. She's a great basketball player. And you going to thwack her with your ham hock forearm, Reagan Beers? Like, what was that dirty shit? That was totally dirty. And I know exactly why Mabry got on your case and got all protective of her teammate. Yeah. Yeah. Because that was a dirty play. Seriously. Maria Conde, really interesting. She played so long, she didn't even score. What's going on here? What's going on, Maria? 15 minutes, 0 points, 0 for 2 from the field, 2 rebounds, 2 assists, 2 turnovers, a steal, and a block, a -10. A dud. In some ways, she could be, this is an opportunity for you, Maria. You could be in the running for 6th Woman of the Year if you really get it going. Seriously, I see the potential in you that you could be such a good player off the bench that you could be in the running for this in the long haul for the season. Maybe not this year, maybe next year. I don't know. But either way, Maria Conde, you got to do more, just like your friend Julie. You both got to do more. I'm telling you right now. You can see Yuskata's doing more. So be like Yuskata. Tiani Key had a tough game once again, too. She had quick foul trouble. This is one of the biggest battles that our rookie from Kentucky has been dealing with is foul trouble. She gets fouls a lot. She's long limbs. She's learning the WNBA style and learning the refs and the personnel and the other teams. In some ways, she's overmatched against big players like Beers that have a lot of weight and a lot of heft. And she's a longer, lankier player like Cameron Brink. And in some ways, that's going to be a battle for her in the WNBA for her career, is to kind of try and manage not getting fouls when you have to play more sizable opponents. And that's going to, there's a learning curve to this, but still, there's so many bright spots with her. She's definitely got so much potential offensively because of her long legs and her long limbs, and she's actually really got a lot of offensive gifts. I mean, the fact that she can hit corner threes is just gravy on top. There's all kinds of stuff that she's going to be learning and getting better at, and we'll see her get stronger too, wiser, and more adept at playing in the WNBA. I want to backtrack just a second because there was a point about Sabali that I want to bring up. When we're on the break and we're running on transition, she's the best person to finish. There's been players on the Raptors in the last couple years that are absolutely the best people to give the ball to on a break because they will make sure the ball goes in the basket. I think of Oshai Abaji. Even though he's a net now, he was somebody who is so good at finishing on the break. RJ Barrett is another great finisher on the break. You could say Scotty too. Why not? Now, Niara, the thing about her is she's very good with pacing her footwork and in the way to get the basket. She's really good at figuring this out because she's money on finishing in transition. And that's interesting because she's the big. She's like the 5 for us. And she may be the best finisher in transition and running down the court. It's kind of interesting like that. It's like, yeah, don't give it to her. Don't give it to her. Yeah, give it to her. She'll run right through there, step in rhythm, the right footwork, just to time it and get the spacing right, to lay it in exactly perfect. Yeah, she's really good at that. She's inherently good at that. I wanted to backtrack and give her some more favor for that. I noticed last night. That was a point I want to bring up. Kia Nurse got 3 minutes of appearance. 0 for 1, took 1 3, and that's it. Not a whole lot there. In some ways, Kia's going to get appearances just to get games played in the WNBA. In some ways, yes, she is the ceremonial Canadian player, but she is a tough player. She is a wise player. She's a vet player. She is a Canadian resource for knowledge in this country. There's a lot of different things that she brings to this team. And once again, people that kind of like about her being on the team, you act this way against Garrett Temple too, right? And you don't understand how valuable Temple or Nurse are to their teams. I'll just say that. There was a really funny moment in the middle of the game last night where they were talking about Team Canada stuff with Aaliyah Edwards and Kia Nurse and their tight bond, because they are very close, Edwards and Nurse, the 2 Canadian WNBA players, and they play on Team Canada. And Aaliyah Edwards said in an interview recently that Kia is her sister. And well, Kia's real sister, Tamika, got mad on the broadcast. Wait, that's my real sister. How can she be her sister? I'm her real sister. I'm Tamika Nurse. And Daniela was making fun of it. I guess Aaliyah Edwards is your sister too now. It's so funny. Timma got in too for a bit there, and I like that she got in earlier. In fact, I was wanting to see more from her. I feel like in some ways, they hold people back, or they're timid, or they're just not ready. But I feel like there was stuff that Pouye could have done last night, especially at the point she came in the third quarter, where she could have boosted us and been like, all right, I want to be the X factor that I can show y'all that I am very worth playing because I'm going to help y'all come back right now. Why couldn't she fill it up? She didn't take a single shot from the field. She got 2 points at the line from getting fouled, 2 rebounds and 2 assists in 8 minutes of play, a -1. Yeah, I was like, oh, cool. Timma's in early. I want to see her go off. I want to see her have a showcase of what she can do for Tempo fans and her team and her coach. Like, seriously, we want to see this, Timma, because, you come highly regarded by Commissioner of Fun, Trevor J. And, well, we want to see it. We want to see it. But, yeah, that's the box score for the Tempo and their overtime victory. Really not good bench production, but thank God for Brittany Sykes is what I would say, carrying with the points. Going to the other side, as I said, there was a 3-prong attack from them. 24 points for Aaliyah Edwards, our Canadian. 8 of 9 from the field, 7 of 12 at the free throw line. 2 of those misses were crucial at the end of the game. Really, really bad misses. But she's a very good player, very confident player. She's the kind of player I'd love to see in a Tempo jersey at some point. And maybe she'll talk to Kia and be like, yeah, it's so fun being on the Tempo, Aaliyah. Maybe you should try and get on our team somehow. Yeah. Yeah, come home. Come home, Edwards. I'd be very happy to have you as a forward for the Toronto Tempo. Yeah, you would help us. You would definitely help us. Yeah, as I said, Layla Lacan, the French woman, was a real pest for the beginning of the game. She could miss. She's just a phenom. In fact, this is like, wow, wow, the Sun are way better than we thought. This is not supposed to be how it's going. That they're beating us at halftime, that they're getting the double digit score on us. We're supposed to have the double digit score on them. And it was because of Layla, 24 points in 32 minutes, 9 of 16, 4 of 8 from three. At one point, she was perfect from the field, and then she started missing later into the game. But yeah, for the first half of the game, she couldn't miss. She literally couldn't miss. 7 assists for her also with 2 turnovers. Yeah, Olivia Nelson Adoba had 9 points with 13 rebounds. She fouled out, and Lacan fouled out too. Yeah, and this is the thing, those foul outs of Isabel and Olivia and Layla were crucial because they happened early in the fourth, and then there was an overtime. And you don't think the Connecticut Sun would have loved to have those 2 players out on the court, Layla and Olivia, in the overtime? Yeah. Yeah, their coach would have loved to have them, but those foul outs really mattered. And in fact, they were maybe crucial for the Tempo to win this game. Not gonna lie. Yeah, and then Sonia Rivers, the friend of Marina Mabry, 12 points. She got hot for a sec in the middle there and was a real problem. We couldn't do anything to stop her for a little bit there. Yeah, she had 7 rebounds and 7 assists also. But yeah, those are the players of note on the other side. Yeah, Beers was a real thug at one point with what she was doing out there. And Kennedy Burke had some unfortunate moments. Let's just put it that way. Just put it that way. Team stats. Let's go look at that real quick where we won and lost. 45% from the field for the Tempo was not the best like for what they usually do. This is a good shooting game for the Raptors. 45%. This is a bad shooting game for the Tempo. They just have a better standard of shooters on their team overall already on the inaugural Tempo that I don't expect them to shoot this low. They should be shooting closer to 50%. Yeah, and the Connecticut Sun did shoot better than us, and they did manufacture more field goal attempts. The free throw line was pretty good, 84% at the line for the Tempo by the end, despite Isabel's adventures there. 36 of 43. And meanwhile, the other team, that's a place where they can point to where they lost. 12 missed free throws for the Sun. That's 12 missed points. Y'all lost by 4. Yeah, yeah, that's tough. That's why it's really important to be a good free throw shooting team. In some ways, the Tempo looked like we were going to lose the game because they were missing free throws in the middle of the game, but they made them when they mattered late, especially Brittany Sykes. Especially Brittany Sykes. The threes, they made one more three than us, 9 threes to 8 for us. But yeah, free throw line's where we made up the difference. We had plus 11 points at the free throw line. This is interesting. We got out rebounded badly by the Connecticut Sun last night. 42 rebounds for them, only 28 for us, including 18 offensive rebounds for Connecticut, which is absolutely no good. And Sandy is going to be telling them today about that. Trust me. That's going to be a focus in the tape room because they don't have a lot of time. They're going to go right to Washington and play their next cup game against the Mystics tomorrow night. So they're going to go over the tape a little bit today, but they definitely got to figure out how to box out better and stop the second chance points because there was way too many of them. In fact, that was one of the life energies that was breathing life into possibilities of a Connecticut victory yesterday was the offensive second chances. Yeah, but yeah, 42 to 28 really got beat bad in that category. But on the flip side, in the points in the paint, we actually won that, which is weird. I think it's because Brittany was so aggressive getting inside and getting stuff happening in there. 42 to 40 for the Tempo and the points in the paint. Yeah. Assist to turnover ratio. We didn't have as many assists as Connecticut, but we had a better assist to turnover ratio. We were 18 and 11, 18 assists, 11 turnovers, which is, yeah, it's not 2-1, but it's more closer to 2-1 than what they did. They did 21 to 19. So they had 19 turnovers, the Sun, with 21 assists. I still want to see the overall assist total of the Tempo to rise. The standard for the Raptors is to get almost 30. Like the Darko and them, like getting 30 assists. That's when he's happy. 25 plus is a good game for him. And under 25 assists for the Raptors means they're not moving the ball correctly. That's his philosophy over there with the Raptors. Now, Sandy does want to get more assists, but we've got to temper the expectations for assists in an early franchise career because expansion years are not necessarily the most gelled chemistry years where there's going to be abundance of assists and guys playing off each other, unless you have a really talented playmaker that is absolutely distributing it like crazy and getting it done. That's the only way. Otherwise, 18 assists for a team like the Tempo right now, 12 games in, it makes sense. Makes sense in some ways. All right, but yeah, that's the look at the box score for the game last night and a little bit of analysis on what happened out there. Yeah, it's kind of fun. Fun game. It had a lot of different stuff in it. There was a point in time where it looked like there may be a little fracas. Yeah, Timbers were boiling over at one point late in the game on both sides. So yeah, there's a lot of passion in the WNBA, and competition will bring this out in people sometimes, right? It'll come out and sometimes because there was a little bit of a moment where I was like, "Whoa, is there going to be something going down this late in the game?" Very, very interesting. Very, very interesting. Yeah, yeah. Let's see. Trevor's saying Tempo and Valkyries, they're both 7 of 5 for the season. I like that we're hanging around in the playoff picture. We've been sitting around 8, 7, 6 spots out of the 8 playoff spots for the WNBA. We're top 8 in the WNBA. We're in the playoffs. That's basically how it works. So if we have a top 8 record, we will get a chance to play in the postseason in our first year. So keep it above 500 and just keep trying to get those wins and definitely take care of wins against teams like Connecticut. Don't need to be losing to Connecticut because that'll get you back down out of the playoffs quick. Losing to teams you have no business losing to. Yeah, Naco the Nachos here. Good to see Gerald. Welcome back, my guy. OG played the best game of his life. Fuck that. I don't care. I really don't care. All right. The game winner that OG hit last night was not as good as the Boston one that he hit for us. First of all, the one that he hit for us was a 3. The one he hit last night was in the lane, right? Yeah, it's not as hard. I'm not going to glaze OG today, like all these other Raptors fans right now. I'm not going to speak negatively of them or positively of them. I'm just going to be neutral. I continue to stand on this. I want the Knicks to lose. I still want them to lose very much. I was pissed off that they ended up winning by 1 last night. In some ways, I blame people like James Williams and Courtney Kirkland for this shit. I didn't watch the game, of course, but in some ways, look, I'm pissed. Because look, I don't like the storyline they wrote in New York last night. I don't like it at all. Now, I will say this. God forbid the Knicks win this series. And they're one win away from doing it. I hope the Spurs still win 3 in a row and win. I hope OG wins finals MVP at least. That would be awesome. I would see that. I mean, if it's going to go all the way like that, I hope he is the finals MVP and fuck Jalen Brunson is what I would say. Yeah. This is a situation where, I was happy Jaylen Brown won finals MVP over Jason Tatum. And this would be similar in this case. If we're going to have to go through the misery and the pain of the Knicks winning the championship again, at least OG should be MVP of the finals, is what I'll say. But fuck that. Gerald, you just don't understand. You're too new an NBA fan. You just don't understand what a disaster this is going to be if the Knicks win the championship. You just don't understand yet. That hooliganism and stuff like that, you don't have any clue. I do. I understand. I've been dealing with Knicks Nation for a long time. A long, long time. And you just don't understand. There's no joy in this. Trust me. In fact, let's go look at the Raptors Reddit of the day. It's Kaz on Reddit. Kaz on Reddit's been a pretty strong Redditor on Raptors Reddit for a long, long time. And he's posting this. He's like this. I still want the Spurs to win. There you go. And I'm with you. Blowing a 3-1 lead is the funniest possible outcome after the Spurs snatch defeat from the jaws of victory in the final seconds of 2 games. Yeah. I want this. Seriously. I want this. And even though he's shit posting, he's trying to just piss people off. I know for sure that there's Knicks fans in our Raptors Reddit glazing the hell out of things. They're posting all this kind of screwed up shit about the RJ and Emmanuel and OG trade. In fact, they're posting stuff that RJ and Emmanuel should be scared because OG's playing so well. Just tell me you're a Knicks fan acting like a Raptors fan without actually saying it out loud. Seriously, half the posts about OG and the Knicks in the Raptors Reddit right now are made by Knicks fans that are not Raptors fans. And they're just coming in victory lapping in our social media space. They're just doing bullshit. So fuck all this. If you're on Knicks train right now still, is because you're maybe a loser that has to feel winning with that whatever team's winning, and you just jump to the bandwagon of whichever team's in charge right that moment. Fuck you. You have no loyalty, you're spineless, and you suck because that's an Atlantic Division rival. That is not just another NBA team. That is a team that sued us. That is a team with an asshole owner. That is a team that has a surveillance state in their arena. That is a team that has all the reasons in the world to lose and feel shitty, that have the pain of being so close and not get it. And that's why I say, Kaz on Reddit, even if you're joking around, I still want you to believe that you're saying, I still want the Spurs to win. Because I still want the Spurs to win. And this game ain't over yet. And I believe in Wemby. That's what I say right there. So thank you, Kaz on Reddit, for being the Raptors Redditor of the day. Yeah, fuck OG and fuck his game of his life, Nako. That's what I say right there. Trevor's saying this. Fox is the biggest dummy of a player missing 8 threes and a very easy layup under the basket. Once again, I'll say it. I've always thought he's overrated. I do not think he's an all-star. I think he's a loser. He's never been somebody I've ever wanted on the Raptors. And I've never understood why people talk him up so much because he's quick and he has handles. Look, I've never respected John Wall either. That's the thing. These guys that are so fast and ball handle, they mesmerize you with like, oh, they're so lightning fast. What the fuck are they good at otherwise? Can they shoot? No. So fuck John Wall and De'Aaron Fox. The same kind of player. I know that player type, and in some ways, it's a losing player type. And the Spurs are stupid for having Fox such a prominent role on their team right now. They really are stupid. They should be encouraging the young guys to do it more instead of De'Aaron. I don't even know why they got De'Aaron Fox in the first place. That was a move that did not have to happen for the Spurs. Trust me. I've thought that from the start. I was like, why did they get Fox? Okay, whatever, Spurs. I'm not totally paying attention to you as closely as I do the Raptors. And whatever. Why'd you get Fox? Okay, you're in the finals. It's great. Okay, now Fox is fucking shooting you in the foot in this game now. Yeah, it sucks, man. It sucks. Yeah, Smooth saying this. Actually, Fox should have held on to the ball and tried to run the timeout. Knicks would have scrambled the foul. He cost the Spurs the game and quite possibly the series. Yeah, that's dumb. That's what I heard Spurs fans were saying. You got to play like you're playing from behind or whatever or something like that. It's like, what are you fucking doing? How long have you been in the league? Do you understand the protocols of what you should do in which situation in basketball situations? Like, how long have you been in the fucking league, De'Aaron Fox? Seriously. How stupid are you? Yeah, I mean, this is the kind of shit that'll ruin your life, Nick Anderson. Let's just put it that way. Seriously. Yeah, there's an all-time choke job by the Spurs. I hate it. In some ways, that's dramatic script writing to try and get the vibes back up in New York. I'd rather have them crushed and crumbled and humiliated like they did feel for most of the game last night. That's just glorious. I didn't even watch the game. And seeing the score on the box score, I was like, oh, yeah, people in the Madison Square Garden right now are feeling like it's a funeral, I'll bet. And I'm like, ooh, I love that. I love that. Does Ben Stiller look like he's about to cry? Is Chris Rock in his feelings? You know, I love that. Is Spike Lee going, oh, no, here it comes again. That's what should have happened. But Zach Zarba and them motherfuckers and the Spurs being young and having a shitty young coach and having an idiot like De'Aaron Fox, it caught up with them. But the one thing we can say is the Spurs have made the Knicks scared. Yeah, the Spurs have made the Knicks scared. And in some ways, they figured some things out. And hopefully the Spurs figure things out like the Raptors did against Giannis and the Bucks in the Eastern Conference Finals of 2019. Because you can figure stuff out. And then you can go on a run and you can win a streak of games like 4 in a row after losing 2 in Milwaukee, like Kawhi and Serge and Nick Nurse and the Raptors did in 2019. That's the thing. The clues are there. You've seen how you did that last night, Spurs. Repeat. Except don't repeat the end stupid shit with dumbass decisions by both Mitch Johnson and De'Aaron Fox. Yeah. Yeah. Smooth saying this. I really don't know if they can recover from that. Wemby also getting a third flagrant foul called on him, becoming passive and missing 2 free throws right before the Fox bonehead play. That was crazy. Once again, we cannot underestimate the youth. The Thunder were a young team winning the championship last year, but they have a very astute, learned young player as their leader in SGA, a man who's really took it seriously, and he's a little advanced for his age. On the Spurs, it's not exactly the same as that, and this may very well be just a very good, talented young team that's not totally ready for the championship, and they're hitting their head on their limits as far as their competition and doing what they can do to actually win. That's going to happen. I expected us to hit our ceiling head with what we could do as a young core with the Raptors in the playoffs this year. Because you haven't gone somewhere, you don't know exactly how to handle it. And this is showing its ugly head right now with the overall young group of the Spurs right now. And Wemby's learning for this. In some ways, he's a lightning rod. He's the middle of it. He's the one who has to take the lessons the hardest in a leader and really take them to heart and go from it. Now, can he process this fast? Can he process this in a couple of days? And for game 5, because he said this after the game, he said he's not worried. He's still got time to play and he's figured things out. So we'll just have to see what's right, Smooth. We'll just have to see, let's see. Yeah, Smooth saying, I just could not believe what I was watching. Just could not believe it. Yeah, well, it's, young youth. That's why I always say, everybody says youth are ready. Youth are ready. Bullshit. You need vets. You need vets that have been there and can help hold your hand through the crazy ass shit that the NBA Finals and the NBA playoffs are. So every team builder that said, oh, we don't need any old vets on our team, you're dumbasses. Look at where Detroit went this year. Detroit had more vets last year, and they did better in the playoffs last year than they did this year. And they had a better regular season record, but they got rid of their vets. They didn't have as many vets. Vets are important in the NBA still. And this finals has proven it. This finals has proven it, man. I do have to give Cat credit, though. Okay, why? On that last play, he fronted Wemby perfectly, pinning him from getting into that lane and forcing Castle to try and go over OG. Well, Cat is a veteran. He's not a young player. He's been in the league for quite a while, and he's been through battles and wars with the Timberwolves and now the Knicks. And, that's an accrued knowledge. Once again, what is the accrued knowledge of Castle and Harper and Wembanyama? Yeah, these guys are like in their first 3 years. And, 2 of them are rookie of the year in the last 3 years. And, Harper is a rookie this year. It's, there's just a lot to this. There's a lot to this. This team would be doing better if it was Popovich. This team would be doing better if they had, viable bigs, viable vets that they could actually use, unlike, Olynyk and Biyombo and some of those other guys, because they're really running with a younger crew. I mean, you could play Harrison Barnes a bit more, baby. That might help. Seriously, Smooth saying, I know you probably didn't watch it, Lex. I didn't watch it. I was double duty, actually. I was watching the CBL and the WNBA at the same time because I had Scarborough Shooting Stars playing Niagara River Lions also at the same time as the Tempo. And that was fun. The Scarborough Shooting Stars defeating the 2-time champion Niagara River Lions, who just recently reacquired their MVP, the Lion King, Khalil Ahmad, who showed up and played his first game of the season for Niagara. He was overseas playing in Europe, and he just finished his season. So now he's back, and this was an important game because this is a rematch of the Eastern Conference Finals of the CBL last year, Scarborough versus Niagara. In fact, I went to one of the games in the playoffs that Scarborough played in that they won in the earlier rounds against Montreal, but then they went and lost to Niagara in the Final Four in Winnipeg last season. But 104-93 win for Scarborough. They were dominating them, honestly. They were beating them by 20 most of the game. And it was interesting because Khalil Ahmad is like a really good player. He got 20 in this game, but it was a matchup between him and Miles Powell. Miles Powell is becoming what the Lion King has been in the last couple of years. It's just that guy in this target time. The dude who's going to get the scores and help his team win. And at one point, Miles Powell hit his knee into another player, and it looked like he was injured for the season. Like he was hurt. They had to take him off the court limping. And I was like, oh crap, what's going to happen in Scarborough Shooting Star season with Powell hurt? But he managed to come back in the game. And what do you know? At the end of the game, with the target score, they needed 3 points. Well, guess who's calling for the ball? And he's very confidently dribbling over to the wing at the top of the key. And he is bombing a three and nailing it. And boom, game over. Scarborough wins. It's just like that. Miles Powell, 28 points, 7 of 18 shooting with 5 assists and 0 turnovers. Yeah, big time, 104 to 93. Yeah, Frank Miller was important in this game also. 21 points for him with 10 rebounds, 10 of 16 shooting. They're so fun. They win the game, and they're doing the interview with Powell, and the whole entire team stands behind them, just like Oklahoma City Thunder do when they win games. And they just start piling towels on top of Miles Powell's head while he's talking to the interviewer. But then they start piling towels on top of the interviewer's head in the middle of it. And it's hilarious. And some of the guys behind Miles, when he's talking real serious, he's like, we're serious. We're coming to get this league. Yeah, we're coming. We're messing this league up, is what Miles is saying. And there's a guy behind him, Thomas, and he's laughing his ass off because they just piled like 8 towels on top of the bald head of the interviewer in Niagara. It's hilarious. It's so stupid. It's funny. Like in some ways, I wait for the post-game interview for the Scarborough Shooting Stars when they win because it's so entertaining. Because either they're dancing or they're piling towels on people or they're just smiling and they're so happy. This group of rookies, none of them played in this league until this year, and they've never played with each other either anywhere else. And they actually have such amazing chemistry. The job that the coach of the Scarborough Shooting Stars is doing this year is amazing. It's so good, and they are awesome. Check out the Scarborough Shooting Stars. They feature a young, promising center talent for Team Canada basketball, Charles Bediako, who is on the list that Rowan Barrett Sr. put out last week. So, yeah, that was one of the games last night. We had 2 other games. We also had this is an interesting one. Brampton lost again. They had only had 1 loss this season. They lost to Montreal last night. The Montreal Lions woke up and got out of their funk. Javon Freeman Liberty, 34 points on 14 and 19 shooting from Montreal. Yeah, this guy, JFL, we know about him, Raptors fans, don't we? Yeah, 8 assists and 8 rebounds, along with 34 points. That dude was messing them up. Quincy Guerrier also chipped in, 16, our Montreal Raptor 905er. Yeah, on the other side, Brampton Honey Badgers, the leading scorer was Sean East, the second, the NBA G League rising star, with 28 points for him on 10 of 14 shooting. But this is a big win because Brampton's been rolling. As I said, they're the number 1 team in the league. They have 1 loss, and now Montreal's handed them their second L. So that's on JFL right there. And then we'll go on to the other game that was out west. And, well, I thought Calgary could finally get their first win, but they did not. They did not. They had the Saskatoon Mamba in Calgary last night, and they didn't win. They lost again. They are 0-8 now. 0-8 for Calgary Surge so far this year in Canadian Elite Basketball League action. 94-88 was the final score. Saskatoon winning this one. For the Mamba, it was Tavion Dunn Martin, the little lanky guard with 28 points and 10 assists. Big time. There was a double for Jaden Bediako, the brother Charles, former Raptors 905er, 14 points with 12 rebounds for Jaden. And then on the other side for the Surge, 19 points for Sean Miller-Moore, the captain, and Evan Gilliard had 17 for Calgary in the loss. So, yeah, perfect 0-8 for Calgary this season now in losing. And Saskatoon, that would have been a good opportunity for you to actually win that because the Mamba are not that great, honestly. So, yeah, there's our check-in with CBL action last night. Winners last night, Scarborough, Montreal, Saskatoon. There you go. Yeah, man, CBL is so fun. And it was fun to watch both games at the same time. I'm monitoring the scores of different games, like the finals game. And Adriana was at the Blue Jays game last night where the Blue Jays were playing the Phillies. And they got blown out by them early and didn't manage to come back at the end with a late run surge. But Scarborough won and the Tempo won. And I'm happy about that. But man, I wish the Spurs had won. Holy crap, I wish the Spurs had won. It sucks, man. It sucks. Yeah. Let's see. Where am I in the chat? Na, 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 na. Okay, Trevor's saying in all my years watching the NBA, I never seen a playoff game like that, this from another team. Piercy's here. Good morning, fam, and happy Thursday. I will get this out of the way. Fox is a point guard playing like a shooting guard. He should be considered a vet amongst those players, but his decision making is horrible. That's the problem. I mean, if he's one of the oldest guys on the court that's viable to play in the series, he should be the one of the smarter ones doing vet stuff. But if he's not, yeah, and that's another thing. I've never liked point guards that masquerade as a shooting guard. You better be getting your other teammates involved. Seriously, be a true point guard. That's why I never liked these combo guards. Now, Emmanuel's a different case. Listen, I don't look at Emmanuel like that. Emmanuel's a combo guard. Don't get it twisted, but he's a combo guard in the tradition of Fred and Kyle, as far as he knows when to choose the time. And he's balancing it very well. In fact, this past season, when Emmanuel was healthy, most of this season, Emmanuel quickly balanced calling his own number 5 and also getting his other Raptor teammates involved very well. That's the problem. You want it to be smooth. You want it to be in the flow of the game. You want the person to be able to read it right. If they're trying to force their own offense over distributing to other people on their team, they're fucking up. They're fucking up. And I'd never had respect for guards like that. Allen Iverson, Stephon Marbury, De'Aaron Fox, they're like that. They annoy the hell out of me. Those kind of players are great for CBL. That's why Evan Gilliard II and Javon Freeman Liberty can be so good in the CBL because they need the scorers to be like that. You can be a point guard that's a shooting guard like that, like De'Aaron Fox is, and you will thrive in the CBL, but not in the NBA. No, not in the NBA. And that sucks, man. I think that was a poor general manager move just to get De'Aaron Fox in the first place. I still don't understand that move. I don't know why y'all got him. You have such a young core at that position that you have such a depth of talent. Why the fuck did you need De'Aaron Fox? Seriously. Seriously. Why did you need him? Seriously. Smooth saying this. Spreewell, Camby, and Jeremy Lin, Steve Novak, and Gerald Wilkins, Bernard King all attended the game. Yeah, and I saw there were a lot of celebrities there too, like Jerry Seinfeld and Taylor Swift and stuff like that. Yeah, whatever. In some ways, they're trying to cleanse the palate of the horrible Game 3 Trump dump and the hooliganism. And they're trying to show, oh, Knicks Nation's actually happy and nice. So all the celebrities come out and clear the taste out of the mouth of everybody from seeing ugly ass criminal in chief, pedophile, rapist Donald Trump at Game 3. Yeah, I think there was a very strong campaign to do that, and maybe even Adam Silver is sitting in the NBA office. How can I make the NBA vibes for the Knicks go back up? Well, let's bury them for most of the game and then have an epic comeback victory, and everybody will feel better in New York again after the horrible big old shit that Donald Trump dumped on Madison Square Gardens. I don't know. I wouldn't put past script writing WrestleMania Vince McMahon kind of bullshit that Adam Silver is trying to orchestrate for his league to keep interest in this flowing. You know what I'm saying? Fiercely saying, I'm not saying Bismack or Kelly should have played, but Harrison Barnes definitely makes better reads. Anyhow, let's go, Spurs. Keep your head up. It's a learning process. That's right. They're very young. And in some ways, the escalator step that they're on right now to the Larry O'Brien maybe is the one they shouldn't be on. And the Thunder should have been on this one still to take care of this business. Maybe that was part of the script writing. Well, the Thunder will probably beat the Knicks. Well, let's help the Spurs beat the Thunder, and then the Knicks will beat the Spurs. I don't know. Was that the NBA script writing, Adam Silver? I don't know. I don't know. Smooth saying this. I just don't want OG to win, but it looks like he'll be getting a second ring. We don't know yet. It's not over till it's over. That last win could be tough, and I don't know. I want to believe in Victor Wembanyama. I want to believe in Do It for Pop. I want to believe in David Robinson, Manu Ginobili, and Tim Duncan and Tony Parker coming down to the locker room and telling these guys how they need to do it. That's what I want to believe in. That's what I want to believe in right there. Yeah, Neil's here. He's got kangaroos today. 2 kangaroos. Are those shoes? Do you remember them when you were young? There were shoes called kangaroos, and they had Velcro instead of laces. Yeah, kangaroos. Are you wearing kangaroos? Is that why you put that there? Or is this a nod to Australia and our great tempo coach, Sandy Brondello? I don't know. I don't know. Yeah, I don't know. Fuse is saying this first overtime win for the tempo. Yay. Yeah. And Superfan Mo got to be in the house for that history. It's fantastic. Yeah, she seemed like she enjoyed herself. That's the thing that I cared about the most. I did not want Monique's birthday to be ruined because of bullshit with FIFA and the World Cup and CNE grounds and get into the game and be difficult. And it seems like the tempo accommodated her fine. Well, I don't know. We'll have to get the news straight from her. Maybe she'll come in the stream today. If not, I'm sure I'll talk to her myself at some point, or she'll come in at some point and talk about her first Toronto tempo experience personally. Yeah, I think she had a good time though. Yeah. But this game could have been ours during regulation. Silly turnovers, weak rebounding. I honestly think Lacan not fouled out, they would have won. Yeah, I was thinking that too. I think there's a couple of things that happen in our favor that we're lucky happened. You know, the Sun were a more capable team and doing better. They probably should have won this game easy. You know, if we get down by 14 to the Aces, we're not going to come back and win that, right? That's the thing we got to understand. This is the worst team in the league record wise. And you can get down by 14, and that's a big lead in the WNBA. In the NBA, it's not a huge lead, but in the WNBA, a 14 to 20 point lead is a big lead. So, yeah, it's going to be interesting. I think that if she had been able to play, especially because she was so dialed in, Layla Lacan, she would have been a problem in overtime. She would have definitely been a problem. Those early fouls and the fouling out were key things in this game. Yeah. Seymour saying after that comeback win, I got to listen to my little bro going nuts. What a game. Wemby getting egged by a fan was the highlight of the night. Laugh out loud. I'm joking. I didn't even know that happened. Either way, man, leave Wemby alone. Wemby is a great person. That's what I would say. Fiercely saying our vet presence, Mabry and Slim help big time. I like how Slim is positively leading Marina and not crashing out. They're really good. Like, it's not just Slim, though. Niara is really big on this, too. You know, there's different people coming in different ways. You know, Isabel had to show some composure last night after getting thwacked in the face and also just kind of getting messed with in different ways. The referee's not totally going her way. She showed a mature veteran poise, even though she was specifically getting the short end of the stick as far as with the calls and different things. She didn't let it get out of control with her emotions where she was a problem. There was a point in the game where the Connecticut Sun got in trouble because one of their players threw the ball at the stanchion. They were frustrated and they tossed the ball. And I was like, whoa, that's a technical in the NBA. Is that a technical in WNBA? I want to see. And yeah, it was. They all of a sudden they had to come over and the lady, she was like, yeah, it's on me. I did it. Yeah, my bad. I lost my temper. See, that's the thing. There's the learning curve and maturity in these sports leagues in the NBA and the WNBA. And having the ability to control your emotions is very important in basketball sometimes because you can make a situation even worse with a referee real fast. And all of a sudden you're giving the other team an extra point and they're tied with you all of a sudden. And that's exactly what happened last night. That she threw that ball and we were down by one and Brittany stepped up the line and tied the game on a technical free throw because one of the Connecticut Sun lost her temper and threw the ball. That's the thing. This is important in basketball, is to stay level-headed and cool. And the fact that Brittany and Niara come rushing over when Marina's starting to crash out, like Fiercey's saying, is really good. Is really, really good. There's certain players on our team that are the calm in the storm. And Niara, Brittany, Isabel, those three in particular. The Euros don't know as much. Maybe Julie's jumping in there a bit to help too. But otherwise, you know, it's not going to be Euskeda and Condi and Tima and people like that are calming things down because they don't have the knowledge base to do it. But it's important. And Marina, she's an emotional hothead. She's not necessarily going to come calm other people. Maybe she will sometimes when she's not all going crazy and somebody else is. But Niara and Brittany, those two are definitely out there calming people down and running up to them and holding them. Those two are, yeah, for sure. For sure. Seymour saying Mabry is a crash out for real. I saw a video of her high school days and she fought 3 girls all by herself. She took one girl's head and tried to put it through the floor. She is very feisty. Yeah, that's our crash out queen, Miss Mabry. That's right. Yeah, I mean, she's awesome. She's awesome. I love that she's gotten control of her emotions, and she gets older. I'd love to see rookie Marina Mabrey and see what kind of that was. Really, there was probably a learning curve in the WNBA, and she probably did cause real problems for her teams because of her emotions at times. She probably did. Yeah, yeah. Seymour saying they were fighting for the ball. Okay, Randolph's here. Good morning, Randolph Phillips. Blessing beloves Raptor Freaks family. Never dismiss, minimize, or invalidate someone else's accomplishments, growth, hard work, or experience because of their appearance or your ignorance. Yeah, this is an interesting one because look, we could either be encouraging or discouraging. Some people like to work on strange things that you may think are not worthwhile. Somebody may be really into Legos, like Miles Turner of the Milwaukee Bucks, and he builds amazing, huge Lego sets with thousands of pieces and replicas of important buildings like the CN Tower. And maybe some people may think, well, that's a dumb waste of your time, Miles Turner. You're a grown man in the NBA. Why are you playing with the kid's toy? Because I find enjoyment in it. I find satisfaction from it. I really get pleased from doing this. Well, I think it's stupid. Well, who cares what you think? I'm doing what I do, and I'm in the NBA, and I got millions of dollars. So shut up. That's the thing. Whatever people do, it may be frivolous to you from the outside, but don't be a killjoy. There's a lot of people's young dreams when they're young, they get crushed because somebody says something to them negative in the early path of their journey. And they don't actually fulfill their journey because somebody told them something that was absolutely just awful and just wrong and just mean. And it's not even actually accurate. It's just their individual perception of what they're doing. And if they had continued to do what they were doing, maybe something beautiful and awesome would have happened. That's the thing. Don't let other people judge you for what you do as long as it's not like hurting other people. Don't let other people judge you for what you do. You may find joy in the weirdest, eccentric, quirkiest things that people may find not worthwhile, but it's not about whether they do. It's about whether you do. And you know what? I would say be the reverse of the discourager. Be the encourager. Even if you don't understand what this person's doing or why they're doing it, you know what? Say that's cool. You know what? I'm not totally into this myself, but I can see you're really passionate about it. And I think you should keep going. That's as simple as you can say it if you want. You can do this in a way that's humanitarian and encouraging instead of discouraging. There's enough discouragement out there. Trust me. Blessings to the Phillips family and all the Raptor Freak families. That's right. Fiercely saying, Lex, I will touch on what you said about Fox and agree he's not an all-star. I did not follow the Sacramento versus Golden State playoffs a few years ago, but if he played the same way I've seen in the current playoffs, is i.e. selfish basketball. No wonder why Sabonis and him could not make it work. Yeah. Yeah. Because honestly, I've never thought he was that great of a player. I really haven't. I've always thought, why are they talking about this guy so much? Once again, I'll say he's just a very fast player up and down the court, but I don't think he's a good shooter. I don't think he's ever been a good shooter. And is he a good passer? I mean, he does get assist numbers. He does get steals numbers. But I don't know if he's the right kind of point guard or floor general. And it's rearing its ugly head at the worst possible time for San Antonio right now. That's what it is right there. Alan Tam's coming in to glaze the Knicks. Well, I'm very disappointed in you, Alan Tam. So we're saying this. Remember, one more flagrant foul on Wemby, he gets suspended for one game. Knicks going to win this one. Don't say that, Reggie. Nothing's done until it's done. The way they won game 3, and they should have won last night, honestly. It's kind of bullshit that they didn't. It would be a totally different thing if it was 2-2 right now going into 5, right? And think about how close they just barely lost to the Knicks last night. So, I mean, there's a lot of hope there. Either way, Spurs' future is so bright, and they're going to be getting championships with Victor. We know that. They may not get this one. This may be the year that they have to learn tough lessons. But I'm still holding out. I think that they can still get this. I think they can still get this. That's right. Thumbs down to Wemby. Alan, you're going to get a timeout because we are not pro Knicks here. We are pro Spurs here. And you're going to get a timeout for today. All right. So I'm putting you on timeout for 24 hours. So no more Bam, son. Sorry, buddy. I will not condone open glazing of the New York Knicks on this channel. I'm sorry. I don't care what's going on in the finals with the outcomes. Don't do it. Superfan Mo is in the chat. She did show up. Good morning, Superfan Monique Lawrence. I hope you had a fantastic birthday. I was thinking about you a lot yesterday and just wishing good vibes and blessings around you and protection. That's what I wanted to send you. Good morning, Raptor Freak crew. Such a great game to be at. Great birthday. I called OT. You called it? You knew they were going to come back and get OT? Well, good job. I'm just glad that they came back and won on your birthday. It'd be worse if you came to the game, your first Tempo game, and they didn't win. So it's good job, Tempo, making sure the game won in the first ever attendance of Monique Lawrence being at your game. Seriously, that's a good job. That's a good job. Yeah. G saying this Spurs were up 25-29 and they continued to just shoot threes. Yeah, I don't know, man. I didn't watch the game. All I can say is I'm not impressed with their coach and I'm not impressed with De'Aaron. That's all I'm going to say on that. The other guys are either old and they're going to be gone out of the league soon, and the other guys are young and they're the future for the Spurs and going to be badasses. That's the way I look at it right there. That's right. Nako saying, Lex, have you watched AJ Dibanasta, who's probably the number one pick? Yeah, I haven't, but I don't care. I don't really care about doing scouts right now. I really don't. I found the scouts to be kind of like frustrating. The one I did yesterday was really annoying. I was like, fuck this guy. I don't care. I don't care. If there's no chance of us getting him drafted, I don't want to put the energy in him. I'll find out who AJ is through him playing in the NBA as a rookie. But yeah, if he's not like realistic for 19, let's not waste our time, Nako. How about that? Monique saying, wonderful day all around. Great win for me. I found Coca-Cola Coliseum hard. We got lost and confusing. See, that's what I was worried for. Now, Mo, you know that they posted something on Tempo Reddit just recently. It's actually about going to the game with Wheel-Trans. I think that somebody they're watching Reddit, and I posted some stuff in there about you going to the game. And I was saying, don't drop the ball, Tempo. You've got a very important super fan coming to your game tonight. And in some ways, she's very confused, and it's tough for her to figure out where to go for the game. And the whole setup down there is very, very confusing. It's very, very, very confusing. So this is what Knowlesby posted. He's the fan that sits up front in the Hawaiian shirt. He said, accessibility info for Coca-Cola Coliseum. Thank you for emailing us at Fan Services. If you wish to get in contact with us by phone, here's the phone number. As the venue does not have a specific Wheel-Trans drop-off point, guests are encouraged to use the address of 19 Nunavut Road and get dropped off right outside the main gates, which can be identified by the Coca-Cola marquee sign. So they're saying that, Mo, when you set up in the future to go to Tempo games, that you can get your Wheel-Trans drop-off at 19 Nunavut. That is where you should get dropped off, and that will get you right outside the building. So I don't know. You said you had a weird drop-off point for the game last night. And like I said, it's a maze out there right now with all the barricades and all the advertisements and stuff for the soccer coming up. So you did have some confusing stuff happening trying to get in, and you did get lost. See, I hate hearing that. People that don't need to be walking real far, because CNE is a place where you can walk real far, shouldn't have to walk real far or have to go real far. And I found the same thing for Adriana and I. Both of us don't like walking a lot. We both walk with a limp. And, we don't want to be walking around in circles in downtown in CNE just because there's no good signage and the people aren't helpful to point us in the right direction from CIBC. We want it to be clear. And I'm glad that, I found this information out. And thank you to Knowlesby. I guess you're the Tempo Redder of the day, Knowlesby, for asking the question and posting that in Reddit. And for the future, Monique, the address is 19 Nunavut. Okay, 19 Nunavut, which is weird because 19 is the year we won. But I will have none of it with OG winning this championship coming up, right? I don't want him to have it. Yeah, that's right. Fiercely saying Julie Alamon is not aggressive enough on offense. She does playmaking and has pesky defense, but lacks aggressiveness, in my opinion. Yeah. I mean, my whole point earlier is basically like they're going to play you for the pass more and more if you don't keep them honest, Julie. And once again, to be a true starter in the WNBA or the NBA, you need to score yourself. The rule I used to have is if you're a starter, you should average double digits. You should average 10 points a game. So, you didn't start in LA. You were a backup point guard for the Sparks last year. And you could have been a starter this year for the Tempo, but you're playing like a backup still. That's my whole point right now for Julie. You're not a backup point guard. You could play starting point guard. It's just you need to wake up and be a little more selfish for yourself in a way opposite of De'Aaron Fox. You can balance this, Julie. I'm seeing the opportunities that you're passing up, that you're the absolute best shot on that possession, but you're giving it to somebody else. You're making an extra pass that's not the right move because they're missing the shot, and you had the better high percentage shot yourself because you were more open, whether it's from three or going towards the basket. Do you just not have very good finishing at the basket where if there's anybody tall around you, you're going to get stopped? Is that what it is? You seem like you're scared is what it is. You're scared to shoot. And we can't have anybody on our team scared to shoot. This is not how basketball players are supposed to be. They should love to shoot, and they should shoot often and a lot. But, you seem scared to shoot, Alamon, and I don't understand that. I don't understand that. You shouldn't be scared to shoot. You shouldn't be. You're a professional. Monique is saying 2 words. Brittany Sykes. Yeah, that's pretty good. Slim Sykes. That's right. $60 for the Mabry shirt. Did you get this one? You got the same one as me. Yeah, I love this shirt. It's awesome. I love the color. I mean, it actually looks pretty good on me. I'm like, hey, this color looks kind of good on me. You know what I'm saying? So you got the Mabry shirt. That's awesome. Superfan Mo's saying, I will never go to Coca-Cola Coliseum alone ever. See, that's tough, Teresa. That's tough, Teresa Resch, because superfan Monique Lawrence goes to Raptors games by herself on the regular. In fact, she went to like over 30 games this year by herself to Scotiabank Arena, but going to Coca-Cola is too much of a labyrinth to try and figure out to get there. Mo, don't rule this out. I'll bet you after you go a couple times, you'll get savvy at it and you will be able to go by yourself at some point. I believe in you. I think you can do it. But it probably is safe for you to go initially for a while with somebody from your family that can go with you. Yeah. And thanks to your sister for going on your birthday. Yeah. I hope y'all had a fantastic time. Seriously. Seriously. UC's here. Good morning, UC. Raptor Freak UC. Good to see you. Good morning, Tempo Gang. This inaugural season feels great. We may or may not reach the playoffs like the Valkyries did. Just grateful we aren't a tanking squad. We want to be entertained. As I told the commenter the other day, I have no expectations for the Tempo. I'm pleasantly surprised. I'm enjoying it. The competition's fun. Watching games that are exciting, like last night's game, is exactly what we want. Temper expectations. Some people are win or nothing. And that kind of mentality, I get it. You're ultra competitive. You're crazy. You're probably not a very fun person to be around in real life. If you're really that desperate that the Tempo have to win the championship every year, starting right away when they're in the WNBA, they got to win the WNBA championship every year. Okay, just stop, please. You're too intense. You're crazy. And this is a team, an expansion team is going to have growing pains. It's going to have ups and downs. So just enjoy the journey. Enjoy the ups and downs. You'll enjoy the ups more than the downs, of course. But just understand they're work in progress, and it doesn't all come all suddenly. Nothing is like that in this world. DoorDash, it's stupid shit. Amazon delivering to your house with drones and shit like that. Fuck all that. The accessibility and the convenience of so much stuff to people is so easy has made people messed up in their minds about what it takes to do something that takes a long time to build. And they don't realistically look at things in the right way anymore because their minds aren't wired the right way for putting time in and investing time to build to an ultimate goal. And the Tempo have an ultimate goal of a WNBA championship, of course, but we realistically, to compete for it, it shouldn't happen initially. Not if it happened, I would be like, wow, this is great. We won our first year. It's not that I don't want that to happen. It's just, fans are so crazy with their expectations and what they see and what they think should be happening. In some ways, let's just enjoy being a fan and having a WNBA team this year, Toronto. And let's just enjoy the ups and downs and the new team and the feeling of the newness. Because that's the fun right there. That's it right there. And UC gets it. She gets it. She gets it. That's right. They get that. Yeah. Seymour saying this. Oh, my, man. Save the day for the Knicks. Give that man a cape. Yeah, I don't care. OG, you're a turncoat. In some ways, you're a Benedict Arnold to me, man. Seriously. You're supposed to screw them up from the inside and make sure that they lose, OG. You're supposed to shoot to miss when you're in New York. Not in Toronto, you shoot to make it. But in New York, you're supposed to shoot the miss on the down low, right? Come on, man. You're not trying to actually help them win, right? Come on, OG. You're a double agent, right? Kaloy's here. Morning, everyone. What a big stain in Wemby's career. What a historic collapse. You know what? This is one thing. You know what this is? This is a pothole in the road, and he's going to be smooth sailing after this for a while. This is the learning experience. This is the pain of failure. But he hasn't even totally failed yet. He still has time to capture this and get it still. No, this is not a stain on his record. People are not going to remember this. Knicks fans will go on and on about it. In fact, that's part of the reason why we don't want them to win, because we will not hear the end of how glorious and crazy this stupid shit is. They won't talk about Kawhi's shot hardly at all. They won't talk about the Raptors' journey. But trust me, if the Knicks win the championship, we're going to have it shoved down our throats for the rest of our lives. And we're going to hate it. That's why I keep telling everybody in Raptors Nation, don't fucking root for the Knicks. You idiots. We do not need this. Nobody needs it. None of the other teams need it. None of them, because you don't understand just the glazing the whole entire league's going to do towards the Knicks next season if they win this year. You don't understand it. You don't understand how annoying it's going to be and how they're going to talk about how great they are for not even just next year. They're going to do it for the rest of our lives because they don't need to win another one. They're just going to say, oh, they won it in my lifetime. Yay, check that off my bucket list. New York Knicks fans can be assholes. They'll have license to brag and come into places and act like the hooligans on the street, but verbally and in social media places. Y'all don't understand this yet. So God help us all if the Knicks win. Fuck that shit. It should never happen. They should be cursed. I don't use that word very often, but the Knicks franchise should be. Yeah. And that Trump thing that happened the other day was hopefully that curse that I was hoping. But they managed a 1-point win somehow, some way. But I blame that on the ineptitude of some of the Spurs people that happened that way. That shouldn't have happened. That shouldn't have happened that way. I don't care. Even if the refs are helping them come back, I don't care. That shit shouldn't happen, Spurs, the way that it happened last night. That's right. Kaz is saying, good morning, everyone. Chloe saying Spurs coach borderline incompetent. He is. I thought he was a horrible hire in the first place. I was like, Mitch Johnson, what the fuck are we doing, Spurs? Seriously, all right, go ahead. Have this guy do this. I have no fucking idea who this is. He looks like the guy from Epic Gardening. And yeah, I like that guy on Epic Gardening. He's really informative in California. Yeah, with the beds, the raised beds and growing stuff. Yeah, he's cool. But the guy, Mitch Johnson, his cousin or whatever, he's a horrible basketball coach. Seriously, I'm not proud or happy that he's been the coach. I didn't agree with him getting that job. I'm like, who the fuck is this guy? You could have done better than this. Seriously, what is this? What is this, man? Yeah, let's see. Seymour saying, can we repeat our RJ words of wisdom one more time? Dunk for our RJ. Oh, for Randolph? Randolph? Yeah. I mean, that's the thing. Let's be encouragers, not discouragers. That's right. That's right. Seymour wants to put shots up in the warehouse. Come on, supervisor, be an encourager. Yeah. Seymour, he's getting exercise. This is good because you know what? Health is wealth. And if he's in good shape because he's shooting the ball on his off time in the warehouse all the time, he's not going to have sick days because he's keeping his antibodies up and he's getting healthier and he's shooting and he's physically active. So yeah, make a case. Yeah, don't discourage, encourage the shooting. Go get him a new ball. He popped it. Go get him a new ball. Yeah, encourage him. That's the way you encourage him. That's right. That's what I'm saying right there. You want to dunk for Randolph? We'll do that. We'll do that. We're going to give a dunk for Randolph on his words of wisdom. And you know what? I'm going to give you a dunk too, just for being cool. That's right. Where's Randolph? Randolph's going to the RJ9. Look at that. RJ is getting RJ9 right there. And Seymour Pay, just for being so benevolent and wanted to double down on that. You got the Eddie Murphy 48 hours, buddy. You got 48 hours. Y'all be cool. That's right. All right, let's see. UC saying this. I don't know how to feel about the Knicks being one win away from a chip. I do know this, that OG game winner wasn't a buzzer beater and not nearly as good as the Boston shot. Yeah, That's what I'm gonna say. It wasn't as far out. It wasn't an inbounds pass right at the end. No, but this is the thing. Knicks Nation will treat it like it's Kawhi's shot. The NBA will treat it like Kawhi's shot. They'll make it a bigger thing than Kawhi's shot. Watch. They really will. Going forward, if the Knicks win the championship, and I hope they don't still, they will point to that game winner and they will toot that horn on that game winner way more than the Kawhi shot against Philadelphia, which we know the Kawhi shot from against Philadelphia is the most epic, most important, most defining game-winning shot in the history of the whole entire NBA. But they shade it and slight it, and just because it's a Raptor who did it, they do. And they'll make that OG shot seem more important and more interesting than the Kawhi shot, and that is not true. That Kawhi shot is cinema dramatic. That Kawhi shot is the last second shot of a 7-game series at the very last seconds of 7 games. And this OG shot is in the 4th game, and it wasn't even at the last second. But trust me, the NBA media machine and the weighting of things and overimportance of Knicks franchise will make that OG shot seem like it's more important than Kawhi's shot against Philadelphia. Yeah. And some people say, well, it is, Lex, because it's the finals. And that wasn't the finals when Kawhi hit that shot. Yeah, but we still won the championship, didn't we? So whatever with your bullshit. You're going to perceive and check it and say this, discourage it, encourage it. That's what we're saying right now. That's right. That's what we're saying. Cloy's saying this. I was in heaven in the first half, swimming in the tears of the Celtics. Why did Fox have to be so ass? Swimming in the tears of the celebs. Sorry, I misread that. Yeah, I was enjoying it just from afar. I saw the box score and I was like, yeah, things are going good in New York right now. Yeah, I was like, things are going good in New York right now. That's right. That's right. Let's see. Where am I in the chat? I jumped ahead. Superfan Mo saying so much in game footage to share on my way out the door. Met assistant coach Brian Langton. Got a few words in with him. I said, good season so far. And he smiled and said, thank you. That's awesome. So I'm glad you got to meet one of the assistant coaches on the way out. Of course, you met Kiki Rice at one of the Raptors games at the end of the season. I believe it was at that playoff game, the Cleveland game that I helped you get to. Happy birthday, by the way, Mo. That was my birthday present. Remember that. You're like, oh, as I told you, like back then, I was like, this is not right. Monique needs to be going to game 3 against Cleveland. And that's why I got you that ticket. That was my birthday present to you, just so you know. But yeah, I mean, that's awesome that you got to meet one of the assistant coaches, Brian Langton. Very, very cool. Very, very cool. Kaloy saying it was freaking 10 seconds. You could have held the ball and the game would have been over. I know. It's just immaturity and not good experience by either the coach of the Spurs or the young players on the Spurs. Not knowing what to do. In some ways, that's where Vet needed to be there. That's where Vet needed to be there. With all the draft luck the Spurs have, getting Fox could be their biggest blunder. I don't think anyone will want him, even if they try to trade him. I'm telling you, there's been a lot of imposter players in this league. Trae Young, DeJounte Murray, that are not actually good players that shouldn't be around the league because they're just bad people and they're just not good teammates and they're not good for winning. And the toxic asset thing they put on RJ was bullshit. There's actually toxic assets out there that aren't good for their team because they're not team players and they take away from winning on the down low. And there's always been these players in the league. Carmelo Anthony's one of them, honestly. There's always been these players in the league. It's just that, at this point in the league with the salary cap structure and the way the parity is, you can't afford to have these players anymore. And that's why Atlanta finally waved the white flag on Trae Young and got rid of him this past season. Because these players do actually get in your way of winning. They really do. And De'Aaron Fox is not a winning player. And he proved that last night. Yeah, this really sucks, man. This really sucks. UC saying, win or lose, the Spurs should move on from Mitch Johnson. I haven't seen him elevate his players unlike Darko has with our players. Was it really draft luck for the Spurs when Adam Silver is the commissioner? Silver wanted Wemby to have talent around him naturally. Well, I will admit, I know they directed him there. And there's nothing wrong with that in some ways, but there is. I mean, they do this all the time. They directed Cooper to Dallas. They directed draft picks to Cleveland after LeBron left. They direct first-round picks to different people. For some reason, they gave us the first-round pick when Colangelo came here, but it was a weak draft class. So they wanted to make it look like, well, the Raptors actually can get the first pick in the draft, but it was absolutely one of the weakest drafts in the history of the NBA. There's always a devious kind of way. Oh, Atlanta needs a draft pick. Okay, we'll give them number one pick. Oh, they're going to get Risa Shea. That's a joke. In some ways, Wemby going to the Spurs is the right fit because he's a Spurs fan as a child, and Tony Parker and Boris Diaw. But at the same time, it does really show that the NBA is a lot like WWE. It is written. It is written. And they want storylines. It's a sports entertainment, and it's written. And in some ways, I like it because the Spurs benefit for it. But I won't lie. Yeah, Adam Silver put Victor on San Antonio. We know that. And he could have put him on San Antonio or Houston at that time. He picked San Antonio because San Antonio is more healthier, and they didn't want to drop the ball on such a huge prospect like him. You put him on the Houston Rockets, they could screw up his youth and him coming in the league, and all of a sudden this amazing product that's possible for making money off in the NBA is screwed up because he's on the Rockets. This is a financial decision. It's a financial decision to put Victor on the Spurs where he can be raised right by Popovich culture and not by a culture in Houston that's all fucked up and crazy. And you can even see it in this year with Kevin Durant and his factor with the youth and Fred being out. That environment would have been good for Wemby overall. Spurs make sure that he is going to be a good player and he will come through and he will make this for Adam Silver. That's the difference right there. That's the difference. Yeah. Smooth saying this, De'Aaron Fox is a vet at this point of his career. What he did was inexcusable, just awful, just stupid, man. Just stupid. In some ways, I've never liked him. I've always thought he was way overrated. I can keep saying that. How do you not run out the ball just trying to lay up over OG? He's stupid, just stupid. Yeah, he's a moron. And I'm sure everybody in Spurs Nation hates his ass right now. Cloy's saying they had it in the bag. This series could have been tied. It's so dumb. It's so dumb. Reggie's saying he could have held on the ball. Knicks would foul 2 free throws with like 2 seconds on the clock. Yeah. Yeah. And Cloy's like, for real, Smooth. They had like 10 seconds left or less. Yeah. Yeah. It's stupid. Monique's saying tempo crowd electric, man. Wow. Yeah. It was really good on Sunday, too, when Adriana and I went to the Sky game. We really got it going. We get real loud. And I like the fact that the defense chants are loud. That's the one that I care about. You guys can do Let's Go Tempo. Y'all can get loud for T-shirts that they're throwing at people in the crowd. I get loud on defense. I yell defense, and it helps. It helps. And the Tempo need help on defense. Trust me. Aaliyah Edwards was eating them for lunch. That's right. Fierce's saying Manuel over Fox, not even available. Yeah, like seriously. Emmanuel Quickly makes less money than De'Aaron Fox, and he's more reliable, and he's more of a winner. And you think Emmanuel Quickly would make a boneheaded mistake like De'Aaron Fox did at the end of the game last night? No, he wouldn't, because he's smarter than that. And he understands the game better, and he knows what to do. He knows what to do. That's the thing about RJ and Emmanuel and Scotty at this point. They're young vets. They're young guys, but they are heady, and they're smart, and they're wise. And they understand things with their years of experience in the NBA already. They can help guide people like Walter and Murray-Boyles to be better players because in some ways Emmanuel is a vet, even though he's not that old. And that's a plus for the Raptors and their roster construction. Everybody says all this bullshit about their contracts and stuff, and it's absolute horseshit. We could do this to every NBA team. There's problematic contracts on every NBA team. Why do we have to shine a spotlight on the Raptors in particular? We could go to every single one of the NBA teams, and we could make a big, huge fucking deal out of somebody on each roster and really pour it on Athletic, Bleacher Report, ESPN, and all the fucking perception wars and just keep writing about it. Oh, if you guys wrote an article every couple months about how Cat's contract is the worst for the Knicks, maybe people would start to believe it at a certain point and turn on him. Well, you do it to Jakob, you do it to Emmanuel, you do it to RJ, and then stupid Raptors fans fall for your shit and turn on their own team. That's the thing that pisses me off. Stop being sheep, Raptors fans, and just believe in what ESPN tells you. Draft Bennett Sturts. Ha ha ha. Fuck that shit. You should go exactly the opposite direction of whatever ESPN recommends for us because they are not our friend. They're gaslighting us. And everybody who thinks that what Bleacher Report, Athletic, or ESPN tells us to do is what we should do, you're fucking morons. Let's just put it that way. Let's just put it that way. Smooth saying, Lex, watch that last Spurs play. Just watch it. I don't want to. I'll probably get upset. I don't want to. I don't care. In some ways, the finals is going to be the finals, and I hope the Spurs still win. But it's going to be what it's going to be, and hopefully, it isn't the future where the Knicks have some sort of crazy thing that they can start glowering over everybody with, because they're going to be annoying. I'm telling y'all, they're going to be so aggressively annoying if they're winners. Just trust me on this. They're going to be so aggressively annoying. And it's going to be so annoying. Kaloy saying, I hate all the celebs rooting for the Knicks. I wanted to swim in their tears. Fox and the coach was asked. I hate the Canadians that are turncoats, like Michael J. Fox and Wayne Gretzky. Wayne Gretzky is a huge turncoat. Fuck Wayne Gretzky, you piece of shit. Two finger salute to you, Wayne. You're not so great. You fucking sorry ass MAGA piece of shit. And Michael J. Fox, I just feel sorry for you. Why are you a Knicks fan, Michael J. Fox? Like, seriously. Well, I've been a Knicks fan longer than the Raptors have been around. Raptor streak. Okay. Well, could you come and be for the Canadian team in this? Oh, no, I'm actually not really Canadian anymore. I'm an American guy now. I'm sorry. I don't ever go to Canada anymore, actually. Oh, okay. Well, you're a turncoat Benedict Arnold motherfucker too, Michael J. Fox. You sorry piece of shit. It's just, it's whatever, man. It's whatever, man. They should be rooting for the Raptors, Canadian celebrities. That's right. They should be. Let's see. Fox and the coach were asked, yeah. Fiercely saying, Fox is not stupid. He's selfish and wanted to shine. I don't know if MSG lights were too bright for him and he wanted to take over. Epic fail. Yeah, way to really like mess things up. You're an idiot. You were on the Kings. You hated being on the Kings for so long. You finally got in a good position in a good spot, and you're going to squander it just because of yourself. You're stupid, man. Spurs fans aren't going to want you on this team now. They're going to want to trade you this summer. They absolutely want to trade you just for last night. Seriously. You realize that? Like the pressure of this game is very important, and you just lost the game for them. And like that is unforgivable, man. It's unforgivable, man. Yeah, Smooth saying that play was stupid. In that moment, he was respectfully stupid. Oh, yeah. Yeah, sounds like it. Fiercely saying to Superfan Mo, unfortunate you've experienced accessibility issues at the Coca-Cola Coliseum. If you can, provide them feedback. It's just very confusing. I've spent a lot of time at CNE. I know that grounds really well, but it changes, it morphs with barricades, and it really becomes a human maze. And in some ways, to navigate your way around to find the right entrance, because one of the problems is they only use one side of Coca-Cola Coliseum to enter for the fans. You can't just run in there from all four sides of the arena like Scotiabank Arena. That's part of the problem. Is that there's only one side, and the problem is the side that you go into is the side next to BMO Field and the side where the soccer field is. And it's not near the road. It's not near Lakeshore. It's not near the Princess of Wales Gate. It's not near the GO station either, or the TTC Loop. It's on the inside and kind of towards the TFC building and the Hotel X. It's annoying. It's just either they need better signage, they need better greeters, or people just to direct people better. Because I can see why she got lost. In some ways, I was going to get lost too. And I've been down there many years over the decades. I used to work down there. I used to have to walk through there every day to get to my job at Ontario Place. I know that area real well, but they build up and change it so fast and do everything. And the whole setup for FIFA is completely made it a human maze down there right now. Yeah. Yeah, so we're saying Spike Lee, not from New York City, man. He pisses me off. He should be rooting for the Bulls or the Hawks. He's not from New York? Why do you say that? Isn't he from New York? I probably was pretty bona fide from New York. You say he's more a Chicago guy or Atlanta? I don't think that's right. You sure? I'm going to see this. I want to check this because I've never, ever known this. If this is true, I want to find this out. We're going to go look at Spike Lee today. Yeah, Spike Lee is somebody who my mother met. and he's a really nice guy apparently. Let's see. Okay, so Spike Lee was born in Atlanta. Okay, he was born in Atlanta. I do remember his early films were kind of made at Morehouse, and he was the setting was kind of more Atlanta like. But then he went to university at New York University after that. So what's his Chicago connections? Okay, so let's see. So when he was born in Atlanta, but when he was a child, his family moved from Atlanta to Brooklyn. So he was very small when he moved to Brooklyn. So, that's part of it is like maybe he was in Atlanta like me when I was in Toronto and only as a little baby and then got raised somewhere else like in New York and he was raised on the Knicks and this New York teams and that's why. So I think that's what it is, Smooth. Is like he was very young when they moved from Atlanta. He probably doesn't remember a lot about Atlanta. And he was raised in New York. So that's what it is. I think that he's honest about it. I mean, he's been the number one super fan for the Knicks forever, right? So I think he comes honest by it, right? Super fan Most saying Yara having an absolute great season. You're right, Lex. It's just the injuries that worry us. Yeah, I'm not worried about anything with them, honestly. They are doing so well considering they've had no bigs for most of the season. And they're doing so well considering they're a brand new team and they should be having all kinds of frustrating stumbles. So I mean, I'm not worried about them in any kind of way. I don't worry about them. They could finish any kind of way this year and I'll be absolutely pleased with whatever they do. They're a first year team and there's no expectations for them from me. I think anybody who has expectations for the Toronto Tempo, they need to just shut up and just not have them. Just let them play and do what they're going to do, and we'll just enjoy it. If you're getting competitive already and you're saying, oh, they need to do this and they need to do that so they can be this, just chill. We just got here. And this is an orientation year. This is the first year. And in some ways, the goals of this year aren't anything about competitiveness in some ways. Yeah, we're competing. Yeah, we're doing well, but the expectations shouldn't be there. There's nothing I'm worried about with them. They can do whatever they want. We don't want Kiki to be hurt. We want her to play as soon as possible for it's good for her career and her rookie year and possible accolades she could get as a WNBA all rookie team or something like that. That maybe that's what I worry about, but I don't worry about anything for the team and whether they can compete or nothing because they don't have to compete right now. They could be shitty and completely lose every single game. And the excuse is they're a first year team, an expansion team. So everything they do is house money. Every success, every win, everything they do this season is house money. That's the way the Tempo fans should really look at it. Because honestly, from going through the experience with the Raptors, going through the experience with the Orlando Magic, watching an expansion team very closely up close, like I did for both those teams in the past, we're way ahead of schedule with the Tempo. If we're comparing this to Magic or Raptors inaugural seasons, the Magic were pretty good in their first year, but they didn't have above 500 record. The Raptors, we know what they were in the first year with Damon and Skydome and that big marquee win over Michael Jordan and the Bulls in the first season of the Raptors. There's highs and lows, but there was definitely way more losses than wins, right? So we have to keep this all in perspective, seriously. And maybe the WNBA is just an ecosystem that actually does facilitate for brand new teams to actually do very well and be successful. Because that's what's happening with them right now. That's what's happening with them. That's for sure. Yeah. Reggie's saying, don't mind me. I'm just really pissed the way the Spurs lost and the broadcasters glazing themselves for the Knicks. Yeah, I don't even want to read that. That's gross, man. Yeah, I mean, that's part of the problem too, is like the success of the Knicks means the mainstream media and the Knicks lovers who have been latently in the press and the broadcast crews and the media for the NBA all this time, they get to really amp up the glazing and really talk about it and be in their joy and stuff like that. That's where you'll actually see just how much there's a latent underlying support for the New York Knickerbockers on the down low within the infrastructure of the NBA and all these places where it's supposed to be impartial, all these places where there's supposed to be journalists that are supposed to cover all the teams equally and be like unbiased, especially if they're on ESPN, a national broadcaster. You're going to see all these homers come out and be absolutely in their own place about it. That's the sad thing about this. That's the thing that we don't want. These are the same people that hate us. And when we won, they dismissed everything we did and they didn't talk about it. They are going to go in the opposite direction for this. This is why I'm telling y'all, this is going to be so fucking annoying if the Knicks win, y'all. You don't have any clue. I was warning y'all, and everybody who's been rooting for the Knicks that's a Raptors fan, you're fucking dumbasses. I'm just going to say that over and over again. You don't understand the cost after this is done if this happens this way. You don't understand the cost. You're going to pay for it. And some of y'all will be like, yeah, well, I don't care because I'm happy for OG. I don't like OG enough for that. I don't like him enough for that. I'm serious. That's not a trade-off that I want. Where just because OG gets a championship again, that New York gets a championship too. Fuck that. That's not a trade-off that I want, y'all. OG should never win another championship again. His championship's with the Raptors. But it's very scarily looking like he's close to getting another one right now. We're just going to have to see. Most giving my cutoff, W Stream, W Vibes. Thank you. Yeah, I'm just 5 minutes away from 2 hours. I am going to go a little bit over just because I have a lot of segments to do still. Yeah, and there's a lot of comments. Cream saying, when does the Tempo play at Scotiabank? Okay, yeah, I can tell you that. They're going to play on June the 27th, 2 p.m. at Scotiabank Arena. They'll be playing the Phoenix Mercury. That will be the first game in Scotiabank. You can go down there, Kareem, and check them out in the new in the big arena, because that's the thing. We do want people to go to that game. Now, that game is on Pride weekend, and it's being marketed as the Pride game for the season for the WNBA. So they're hoping a lot of people from the Pride festivities around downtown are going to fill the 19,800 seats of the Scotiabank Arena for that game. When the WNBA came to Toronto for that game, Chicago Sky versus Minnesota Lynx, to check out the city and whether we'd support it, we sold that arena out. And we brought 19,800 people to the arena for the WNBA. And that was part of the reason why we landed our team. So it's definitely a game that if you are on the fence about going to the Tempo, go to it. In the familiar confines of the Scotiabank Arena on that Saturday, June the 27th. It's 2 p.m. game too. It's in the afternoon. So check it out, Kareem. That's the game to go to. There is other games at Scotiabank later in the season too, but that's the first one. And that'll be on the 27th. It's a Saturday. That's right. Most got it right there. She wrote it in right there. Yeah. Superfan Most saying, yes, Nolan reached out to me. Knowlesby. He did. Okay, cool. Before the game on Instagram, and he helped me because someone wrote to him on Reddit about me. You know who wrote to him about you? Was me. I'm the one who wrote to him. Mo, I'm the one who wrote to him and warned him that you were coming there because I seen that he's a good, strong super fan for the Tempo already. And I warned him. I was saying, I want you to let Teresa know that Monique's coming and it's her birthday to boot. And that, I don't want the Tempo to drop the ball on Superfan Mo having a bad experience the first time she goes to a Tempo game. So, yeah, I'm the one who wrote to him, just so you know. Someone wrote to him on Reddit. It was this guy. I did it. I was helping you out, Mo. That's what it was. So Nolan wrote you back. Awesome. Yeah, and I hope that you become friends with him because he's very passionate about the Tempo with his courtside seats and his Hawaiian shirts and being there at the games. In fact, Nav's not even there for every game. He wasn't at the game last night, was he? No, Sam McDaddy was there, but I think Nav Bhatia is not going to be doing the every game thing for the Tempo like he does for the Raptors. I think that's just too much for him. He can't do it. He's still got those tickets down there. He had a young man and a young lady sitting in those seats, though, there. Did y'all see Trish Stratus at the game last night? Man, Trish Stratus is awesome. She's truly a Toronto icon and somebody who's very important. And she totally belongs at a Toronto Tempo game. Her competitiveness and her athleticism as a wrestler and her importance in the wrestling world, I'm proud of it. Honestly, as a Torontonian, what Trish Stratus has accomplished as a wrestler is important. And seeing her sitting next to Lily Singh at courtside last night was awesome. And she really got into it. You could see her in the overtime jumping up and down and rooting for the Tempo players so hard. So hard. That's right. Seymour saying if Miami does pull the strings and get Giannis, that combo of Adebayo and Antetokounmpo is a definite Wemby stopper. I mean, they're both very good defensive players. But, when Adebayo's getting up there, I mean, he feels like it. I don't know. He's not really. His age is deceivingly younger than I think he is. But he still seems like he's slowing down. Like Bam is not exactly as good as he was a couple years ago right now. I don't know. Maybe it's because he has more on his shoulders in Miami at this point, as far as responsibilities than he did in the past when the team was more balanced. He doesn't look as good the last couple years. I know everybody goes on and on about what a great defensive player he is. I feel like Bam's overrated at this point. Let's just put it that way. I feel like he's overrated. Now, Giannis, yeah, he could probably guard Victor better than most people in this league. Definitely. Definitely. Yeah. 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 Chloe's saying, nah, Lex, this is Wemby's only chance. Next year, the coming year, Scotty and the Raps are coming for them all. All right, Chloe, you're getting a dunk. I love that, man. Listen to Kaloy there. You got that Delano Banton 45 bus for that. Listen to that, man. I'm so proud of you for saying that, man. That's right. You said, oh, Wemby, your window's right now because Scotty's going to close it next year. That's awesome, man. I love that, man. Yeah, exactly. Yeah, exactly, Kaloy. Seymour's with you. That's right. Kareem's saying, I wanted the Knicks to lose that game. That shit shouldn't have happened. I know it's better for the league if it's even right now, but I think that the vibes were so bad in New York after game 3 that they made sure they had to have it. All right, I'm going to get a hang up right here, guys. Just hang on a sec. Caller, you're on the Raptor Free call-in show. Yeah, it's like if you're Canadian Tire, you're calling the wrong number. Whatever you're calling Vinay bullshit. That's right. That's what it is. Total incompetence. Total incompetence. That is what it is right there. Total incompetence. Yeah, let's see. Super fan Mo saying I saw Sue, Lex. She saw me. I was expecting it, Lex. You saw Sue? Sue played again. Sue went to the game last night too. Awesome. So Sue went to her first tempo game last night. That's awesome, man. That's awesome. Seymour saying 0-8 Surge getting the beats by Dre. Yeah. Yeah. Calgary's really bad this year. They might need you down there, Sheriff. Seriously, you show up and all of a sudden they start winning. Chloe, this is more on the incompetence of people around Wemby than greatness of Knicks. I agree with this. The Knicks are lucky that the Spurs fumbled. I think that's the message from last night. Yes. Reggie saying no one blocked out OG. He had a clear path to the basket. Yeah. I mean, it's just anyway, you guys have gone over it enough that I can visually understand it without actually watching it. I can understand what happened. Let's see. Kareem saying this. They are already saying OG had the hand of God taken away from Diego Maradona. Yeah, whatever bullshit glazing and building up the legend of all this by Knicks Nation, it's going to be annoying. That's why I keep telling y'all, we can't root for them. Do you want to live in a post-Knicks championship world? You don't. Trust me. You don't. We have not had to live in that our whole entire lifetimes. They won before most of us were alive, and they had not won this whole time. This is going to be a whole different kind of scene around the NBA, and you guys do underestimate just how fucking much the Knicks Nation is assholes. You really have underestimated this shit. And I think that Raptors fans that have been playing both sides, you're going to fucking feel it. And you idiots, I'm going to be like, yeah, fuck you, you guys who rooted for them. If you put any rooting interest in the Knicks from this side, I'm disappointed in you. I'm serious. I'm very disappointed in you. Because it's like, I knew this all along. And I'm like, don't root for them. Seriously, don't root for them. They're awful people. You saw how they attacked the Spurs fan. You saw that Trump's involved with their owner. They're awful people. They're just awful people. That, in some ways, the toxicity of the Knicks fan base is just like the toxicity of the Leafs fan base. Some things just get bigger than they are, and they just become really ugly things. And that's what these are. In some ways, that's why it's important for us to have a good culture for the Raptors and the tempo, is to be the right kind of fan base and do things the right way. And that's part of the reason why I do this channel, is to try and be a leader on this kind of stuff. And, Knicks Nation is awful. I'm just going to say that. I don't care if you have glitzy celebrities. I don't care if the whole entire mainstream media is homers for you on the down low. You all suck, and you all are pieces of shit. And honestly, it's kind of it's kind of fucking pathetic that it took this long with the NBA helping y'all for so many decades, that it took y'all this long to try and be in this position at this point, because they've been trying to set you up and get you in the right place for so long. And your dysfunction and your failure has kept you away from it for so long until now. They've wanted you to be like this. They've wanted to roll the red carpet out for you and have you be in this position for so long. And y'all are so fucking pathetic. You couldn't get it done since the 70s. Yeah. Yeah. That's what I say to that right there. Yeah. That's right. That's right. Total incompetence by the Spurs at the end of the game, for sure. Yeah. Yeah. Let's see. It was Fox again who went to double Brunson. Yeah, he's an idiot. In some ways, fuck De'Aaron Fox this morning. Fuck him. Fucking idiot. You got the Tempo Cup. You got this one. This one, the collector cup that you got to buy a pop in. It says first never fades. It's a nice, good quality plastic. That's right. Yeah, it's a good cup. It's a good cup. I'm gonna keep it up here as a display for the show. First never fades. That's the moniker, the saying for this season for the tempo. I like that. I like that. Yeah. Kaz is saying this. Spurs need to get rid of Fox as soon as possible. When a rookie is out playing you in the playoffs, it's time to go. Fox has been in the league how long and doesn't know who OG Anunoby is clearly. Harper is the future and should be starting next season. I don't care. I was trying to get a quick layup. What a clown. What a clown. Yeah. Yeah, they probably are baiting you to do that too, on the hopes that you would be a selfish idiot and do that. OG is probably lurking. He knew that you were fucking gonna come do that, and he knew exactly how to play it because he knew you were a dumbass. Yeah, Cool Cat's here. Good morning to Coach Cool Cat. Always wishing good vibes and health and good things for Cool Cat. Tuning in very late. Good morning, Raptor Free crew. We had a kindergarten graduation. Man, what a fancy production for the kiddies. That's cool. That sounds like fun. That sounds like such a joyous kind of energy. That sounds so much fun. That's probably a lot of goofy stuff going on there too. Yeah. Cool Cat saying OG, Siakam, Fred having major impact on their new teams. Yeah, I don't care about that. Fuck those guys. Although I love Pascal and Fred, he's fine too. But OG right now, fuck OG. I'll say that right now. Fuck you, OG Anunoby, for your bullshit. Yeah, Smo's saying we're friends on Instagram now. Thank you for that. Yeah, no problem. You know that you do this for me too. We're connectors. We know different people, and I don't really know Knowlesby. I just like reached out to him on. He posted something on Reddit, and I brought to his attention you were coming because I wanted to make sure. Like seriously, you're my good friend, Mo. I want you to be safe and happy and taken care of. And in some ways, you know, if there's anything I could do influence wise, I was going to do it. And that's what I was trying to do. That's all I was trying to do. You know, because I know that Teresa, if she knows that you're coming, she will do things right to help you out. And that's important. Seriously. Did you find that the section that you sat in was pretty good for your view of the game? Because I had a hard time just figuring out where that section is in the arena when I went on Sunday, because I was trying to scout it and trying to figure out where your view would be, but I couldn't figure out where it was. I couldn't figure out where that section was. Yeah, Cool Cat saying Fox is not a Spurs player, not a team player. To my shot focus, low IQ decision. Why put up an errant shot? Let them foul you. Sacramento Kings type player. Huh? Yeah, he was on the right team before he got to the Spurs. No, you weren't on the wrong team, De'Aaron. You were on the right team already. Yeah, Seymour's laughing about it. Yeah. Yeah, Smooth saying my Spike Lee Chicago reference is to do with his Michael Jordan Nike collaboration, man. Oh, okay. But that's the funny thing about the whole thing was the relationship between Jordan and Spike Lee was not for Jordan. That's the thing. Mars Blackman was for Jordan, right? The character that he played in those commercials, Mars Blackman, was for Jordan. It's in the shoes, money. Money, it's in the shoes. But we know from the games at the arena that when opposing players came to Madison Square Garden, it was Spike Lee versus Reggie Miller. It was Spike Lee versus Michael Jordan, even though they did commercials together. You know, in some ways, what Spike Lee did with Nike and Michael Jordan was a character. It wasn't Spike Lee. It was Mars Blackman. That's it right there. Yeah, it was Mars. It's Mars Blackman, man. Kaz saying, I'm not watching the rest of the finals. I refuse to watch the Knicks win. I don't want to have any visual memory of it. That's part of the reason why I don't want to watch the last couple of minutes of the game last night. Because honestly, And I did this with the Celtics championship too. I have no visual memory of the Celtics winning the championship a couple years ago. I have no visual memory. I have a memory of the Thunder, and because I watched last year and I was like, either team wins, I'll be happy to see them win. But I have no visual memory of the Celtics winning their last championship because I did not pay attention to it in the least. And I'm doing the same thing now. And if I don't have any visual memory of the Knicks ever winning the championship, in some ways I'll forget it faster than everybody else, right? That's it right there. Yeah. Most saying wheelchair section was great. It was the second floor. Okay. And were you not on the end line, right? You were somewhere looking down on center court. I don't want you to have to look down the court. I just couldn't figure out where it was. It was kind of weird. It was kind of weird. All right, let me see. Let's go over the refs real quick. So after the game last night with the referees, Genesis Perrimon, the rookie ref who had a blunder in the game, is now 2-1 with the tempo. Her record is 2-1. So she's one of the 3 refs now that have 2 wins in games with the tempo. And then we had Gerda Gatling making her debut with the tempo. So she's 1-0 now. And we are even with Isaac Barnett now, 1-1. And that's your ref report. I found that ref crew very weak last night. I felt like they did not know what they were doing exactly. They were not consistent with the ref calls at all. There were times where the game kind of got too pushy and a little bit out of control because of emotions. And I did not have confidence in that ref crew that they were making decisions correctly or even doing things right. You know, the challenges were interesting. They went well for the most part for the tempo. The right calls were made. Both teams won their challenges. Except for no, they didn't win the second one. This the Connecticut did they win their one? Yeah, they did, I think. Either way, I didn't find that a very strong ref crew. I think Isaac Barnett is a soft crew chief. Gerda Gatling is fine. She's a vet. She's kind of just the middle of it. But with the soft crew chief with a rookie third ref, that was not a strong ref crew. That's the equivalent of like, the WNBA sent a ref crew to Toronto last night for 2 teams that are not necessarily good. But they're good teams playing like the Aces and the Liberty. They'll put like a creme de la creme, top-notch WNBA ref crew. So we kind of got a shitty ref crew last night. Let's just put it that way. But we won in overtime still. And that's what matters. All right. So, yeah, I did all right, here real quick. You know who else was at the game last night for the tempo? And this is interesting because his girlfriend was not playing, was Kaysen Wallace. Kaysen Wallace was noticed at courtside watching the tempo play, even though his girlfriend, Kiki Rice, is in a walking boot sitting on the bench. So this is interesting. I think that Kaysen might be shadowing the tempo for the summer just to be around Kiki more. Now that he's out of the playoffs with the Thunder out, he has more time to be around her. And she's busy. She's playing for the tempo in the summer in the WNBA now. So it's different than other summers where she'd have the summer off at college at UCLA. So I guess Wallace might be seen at a lot of tempo games going forward. Because honestly, if he's going to show up and watch the tempo play and she's not even playing, he's probably going to be showing up to games, is what it seems like to me. All right, straight goods on Canadian goods, y'all. I'm doing natural spring water today, and this is spring water that comes from Quebec. It's Naya, Naya. Our natural spring water is never treated with ozone and naturally sodium-free. It's drawn in Mirabel, Quebec, at the foot of the Laurentian Mountains, and bottled directly at the source. Offered in many formats, Naya has a bottle for every occasion. So you guys want to buy bottled water, definitely don't buy Zephyr Hills or anything that's American. You can buy Naya, Naya. That's a 100% Canadian company and Canadian spring water. Keep it in our country, in our economy. Straight goods on Canadian goods. Naya water, bottled water. It's hot out there in the summer. You got to hydrate. So get the right stuff. That's right. Already in the prognosticating for WNBA awards, the Toronto Tempo are being overlooked. They have a little blurb about Rookie of the Year stuff, and they do not mention even Kiki as being a challenger to Olivia Miles. It's annoying, man. I can already tell they're going to do this to the Tempo just like they do the Raptors. They're not going to want to put them in any conversations for anything, and they're going to try and ignore them. Trust me. In some ways, that's just a Canadian tax effect or something with American media. It's kind of annoying. Let's see what else. We got any breaking news with basketball? I don't see it. I don't see anything there. Let's see. Let's do the birthdays. Happy birthday to Raptors draft pick Joey Graham. Joey Graham was drafted by the Raptors in the first round as the 16th pick in 2005. So Joey is 44 years old today. So happy birthday to Joey. Joey played for the Raptors for 4 seasons. Yeah, he had a little bit of time when he actually played in the playoffs for us in a few games too. 8 playoff games for Joey Graham and his Raptors playoff career. You know what? So happy birthday to the twin, Joey Graham. His brother is also having his birthday today, Steven. Yeah. Also, happy birthday to Chuck Hayes. We love the Chuck wagon. Chuck Hayes is a cult classic legend in Raptors lore. Chuck Hayes has always been an important person on the Talking Raptors podcast with Nick Reynoldson and Barry Taylor. Chuck Hayes was part of the Rudy Gay trade, that famous trade that Masai pulled off, and we just love Chuck. Chuck Hayes is like he's like a version of Charles Barkley that's like the cool on the down low unknown one that nobody knows about. So salute to Chuck Hayes, who has his birthday today also. And then finally, one more big birthday today for Raptors world, and it is our former coach, Butch Carter. It's Butch Carter's birthday today. He's 68 years old. Of course, Butch Carter was the coach for the Raptors around when Vince was on our team. Yeah, he came in. He was assistant under Darryl Walker the year that Darryl Walker was the coach, and then Darryl Walker got fired, and he got promoted to being the coach midway through our third season in the league. So yeah, Butch Carter was the third ever coach for the Toronto Raptors, and there was some early success with him in the beginning, but alas, he had some issues with controversies with Marcus Camby and other things going on. And well, he had to be dismissed also. But happy birthday to Coach Carter of Indiana University and early Raptors expansion years. 68 years old today for Coach Carter. Butch Carter. That's right. All right, check on your WNBA fantasy teams. I'm beating Meredith pretty good. I'm very proud of this because Meredith's not easy to beat. Yeah. And Fiercey is still rolling strong as the undefeated team in our WNBA fantasy. Yeah, she's been rolling through the weeks of our fantasy league. All right, let's do the classic card. Let's get out of here. I want to get out of here in less than 2.5 hours. All right, yeah, we'll do this one. This one's confusing because the card looks like it could be one of two players. I'm going to let y'all figure out which player it is. Who are the two players? Oh, okay. I'm not even sure that. All right, just name the one you can see. That's it. It's easy. It's a pretty easy card, actually. I think that the Laker, I'm pretty sure I know who that Laker is, but I'm not totally positive. Oh, wait, I know who that is. I just figured it out. Yeah, I know who that is. All right, full name answer on the classic card of the day. The answer is the Miami Heat player. It is not the Laker. Although I know who the Laker is, even with his back turn, and I'll name him after the game. But yeah, make sure you're live. This is the classic card of the day, daily segment on the Raptor Freak channel, and we do it near the end of the show. So yeah, who is that Miami Heat player? He's from the expansion years. Yeah, I don't know why y'all have some weird translate on here. Seal milk. You calling him seal milk? Seal milk. That's weird, man. That's weird. Yeah. In some ways, if you're having problems with auto translate, spell the name out with a space in between each name. Yeah, full name answer, Fiercey. And that is not how you spell his last name. So I can't give you that as the answer right there. Yeah. I don't know. YouTube is weird, I guess. They have some weird auto translate going on. That's just part of the challenge of getting the classic card. Can you get it to write it? Can you get it to write it? And I need the full name. If you try to write his first name, I'll probably give it to you because you got the last name. It's said right, but it's not really how it's spelled. It's not how it's spelled at all. It's not even close, honestly. But I'll give it to you if you can write his first name in real quick. I'll give it to you. Yeah, seal milk isn't going to cut it, Reggie. You're not going to attempt again. Yeah, I don't know what's going on with auto translate. It puts a little weird symbol and then it has something else. It was doing that the other day when we had a classic card and I was like, "What's going on here?" Like Fiercey, it says it's auto translating you to C Cali, C Cali. Says it wants to auto translate Greek or something like that. I don't know what's going on here. I would say once again, y'all, if you want to put the answer in without no translate, put each letter in with a space in between it and do it the long way like that. Like write S blank E blank blah 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 and just write it out that way if it's going to do this. Yeah. I'm not giving it to anybody yet. He didn't say nothing but seal milk. It says seal milk. That's not the answer. There you go. Okay, but that's not how you spell his name, but I will take it. But you're still not following the rules. You're the champ this year. So how do you not know the full name answer is important? Do you know his first name? You can't just say his last name. You got to have his first name. Seal milk. Yeah, he wrote in seal milk. I don't know why it says seal milk on there. Seriously, it says seal milk. I don't get that. Who is that? Who is this? Look at him. He's right up in your face now. And the other guy's Eldon Campbell. The other guy's Eldon Campbell of Clemson, who sadly died in recent years, which is kind of crazy. But yeah, who is that? Write his first name. There you go. Finally, Fiercey writes it out with spaces because that's what it takes, apparently. Ronnie Cycly. Ronnie Cycly. Rony Cycly. RONYSE. Oh, wait, he can write it there, though. All of a sudden, he can write it without the translate. Oh, my gosh. It's too late, though. She got it. She got it. This was a weird one, man. I'm going to say that right now. That was weird that was difficult like that. Yeah. Ronnie's one of these weird players. Yeah, you said seal milk in the first one. It auto-translated it to seal milk. It's so strange. It's so strange. Ronnie's one of these weird players that when he came into the NBA, he was already super wealthy. Like his family is extremely wealthy, and he did not need NBA money at all. He was already like extremely wealthy, and he was just good at basketball, so he played it. But yeah, he's an interesting guy. He was expansion Miami Heat and expansion Magic at a certain point. He did go over the Magic and play for them too. Yeah, all right. I'm going to give you 100 points for Ronnie Cycly, Syracuse University. That's right, Stargate, with Derek Coleman and Sherman Douglas. That's right. Yeah, and I'm going to give it to Fiercey. Fiercey got it in correctly first, even though she had to space it all out. She listened to me, and I said, space it, and you can put it in. Watch. But then he wrote it, and it was fine. It's like, why did it say seal milk earlier? I don't know. 100 points for Fiercey on the classic card of the day, Ronnie Cycly. All right, y'all. Thanks for watching the reaction stream to the Tempo win in overtime. First ever overtime game in Tempo history, and it is a W. You want me to give it a smooth? No, you got it. You got it. You got it. It's okay. Ronnie Cycly was Shaq's biggest victim. If you know, you know. You know, David Robinson is Shaq's biggest victim. First of all, David Robinson was in that All-Star game. That was the biggest victim right there. When he did that to David Robinson, that was embarrassing. The stuff with Ronnie, there is stuff that happened there too. But we have to remember this too. Nobody was handling Shaq very well at all early in his career. One person kind of handled him well, and Cycly did. So it's kind of like you're saying something about Shaq. Shaq was destroying backboards. Shaq was a menace. Shaq was really different when he was on Orlando. Just trust me. He was different on Orlando than in LA. Cycly, out of all the centers in the league, was actually one of the few that could actually hold his own with him to a degree. So I know he got Cycly a couple times, sure. But he didn't get anybody worse than David Robinson in the All-Star game that year in San Antonio. That was the worst one. And Cycly, to his credit, held his own with Shaq better than most centers at that time. Let's just put it that way. Let's just put it that way. Yeah. Yeah. Stargate saying, I like that team. I don't see seal milk. You don't see seal milk? Yeah. It's like got a weird thing, and it's got a little symbol, seal milk. It's the first one you wrote. It's after most comment about the wheelchair section. It has a weird little symbol. Oh, when I put my hand. Oh, wait a second. Okay, that's interesting. All right, you know what? I am going to give it to Smooth because some reason, if I run my cursor over what he wrote, it will translate to what he said. So this is weird. All right, I got to remember that. If I see that stupid symbol, I just need to run the cursor over it and it will tell me what it is. All right, so Fisher, you're right. I will give it to Smooth. I will give it to Smooth. That's weird. Why is it doing that? That's weird. That is so weird that it's doing that, man. You see, great stream. Go take care, y'all. Yeah, thank you. Thank you. Yeah, Stargate saying they used to have battles with Georgetown with Alonzo and Mutombo. Yeah. I mean, the center matchups in the 90s were awesome. You had Ewing, you had Morning, you had Olajuwon, you had Robinson, you had Shaq, you had people like Mark Eaton still around. You had Rick Smits. You know, you had Cycly. There's a lot of good centers in the league around that time, and there would be real battles, real big man battles, where you would actually see Alonzo going head to head with Patrick. You know, that kind of stuff was awesome. That's part of the thing that Stargate and I love about the old game and why we like the big pivot stuff is because at that time, those guys were so gifted and so talented. It was fun to watch the biggest guy in the court be one of the best offensive players on the court. And there was a group of them. These guys were all really good. You know, I'm probably forgetting a couple guys. I could talk about Brad Doherty, probably. I could talk about, you know, there were quite a few. There were quite a few really good centers at that time. That's right. And those battles. Yeah. It's what made the 90s a very great era in the NBA for sure. All right. Recapping real quick. The Tempo won in overtime last night. My 5 stars of the game are Brittany Sykes, Laura Yescada, Niara Sabali, Marina Mabry, and Julia Lamont. Yeah. And then the Scarborough Shooting Stars won their game last night against Niagara, the 2-time champs. Honey Badgers lost to the Montreal Lions, and Saskatoon got their 3rd win over the winless Calgary Surge in CBL action. All right, tomorrow we'll have a preview again for another Tempo game. Tempo at Mystics in Washington. Friday night action. Commissioner's Cup game number 5. So yeah, this will be our 5th Commissioner's Cup game, and so far we're 3-1. No, this will be our 4th Commissioner's Cup game, and we're 2-1 in the Commissioner's Cup so far. Yeah, and in some ways, you know, that still counts, even though it's this overtime victory with a smaller margin. In some ways, that point differential matters, and in some ways, it's good we got the win, but it's too bad we didn't blow Connecticut out also, because that would have been way better for Commissioner Cup standing. All right, y'all. Thank you for watching me. I appreciate you spending your time with me. I hope that you enjoyed it. Please like, comment, subscribe, and share the channel on other places. If you feel like there's somebody out there that you know that would make it value as a Tempo fan or a basketball fan in Canada from my channel, please let them know about my channel. That'd be awesome. All right, y'all. Have a great day, and I'll see y'all tomorrow at 9:30 a.m. Let's go, Tempo. Good job, Marina. Good job, Brittany. Good job, Laura. Yeah, it was good stuff. Good stuff there. Good game last night. And I'm glad y'all brought it home for Superfan Mo on her birthday. That's right. And I'm glad Mo had a fantastic time, her first ever Tempo game experience. And it sounds like there's going to be more to come in the future. And that's good. That's good. We want Monique to gravitate towards becoming a super fan of the Tempo also. It's not official yet, but I'll bet you she'll be a super fan of the Tempo at some point also. Yeah, yeah. All right, y'all. I'll see y'all tomorrow. Let's go.